on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN Live.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio on a Thursday. We head towards Memorial Day, officially kick off summer as we say hi. Hope you're having a nice week. I'm Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles. Dustin Swedelson, Las Vegas. Ryan Smith, youtube.com/VSiN Live, Las Vegas as well. Naya Hardman, Eric, New York City producing. So we've got you covered coast to coast. Got a ton to do today. We obviously are going to get to the big story, which was last night, Madison Square Garden, just pure theater. There's no other way to put it, whether you're a Pacers fan or, unfortunately, like the big guy, a Knicks fan. It was captivating theater. It's what sports are all about. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's quickly get you set up and welcome you in. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. Just a note, I saw this, your boy Kurt Chkin was on ESPN right before I started. Rockies are having a good year. They're 8-42. So that's them. And then the Tigers, they have the best baseball in Major League. They had best record in Major League Baseball for the big guy, not the Mets. No, the Tigers, 33-17, and they're killing it this month as well. But the Rockies are the big story. I mean, that is a pathetic franchise. They're 8-42. We digress. You can get more baseball tomorrow to lead the show with Christopher Russo. Let's do this as far as the hockey, because that's going to be dropping puck first tonight. I gotta be honest, I think it's crazy we're getting a plus price with the Panthers. And again, your betting needs, VSiN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code series. You can get hooked up right now. All the picks today on the ice, on the wood, on the diamond. I think it's nuts. The Panthers, frankly, are a much better hockey team than the Hurricanes. Obviously, the Hurricanes are in a very hungry spot with a bounce-back opportunity at home. Probably be better defensively. But with the Panthers, you got Bobrovsky, 4 lines. That is a team that probably should win another Stanley Cup, go back-to-back. And tonight, you're catching a price with them. On the wood tonight, it's game 2 in the West. Now, the question is, can the Timberwolves bounce back? I'm looking right now at the numbers. So remember, this number closed about 8.5-ish in game 1. A terrible first half from Oklahoma City. They were down 4 at the break, and then they went on to outscore the Timberwolves 70-40 in the second half. If you need them, and the number's the same. Look, it's 8.5 with Oklahoma City laying it. 217-ish, anywhere between 216.5 and 217.5 for you totals bettors. And SGA coming off the MVP with a spirited speech there, which we'll get to. But the Thunder are the better basketball team. The question is, will Anthony Edwards, who Dustin is obsessed with the concept, I think somebody said it, the face of the NBA. He very much was not the face of the NBA for the big guy with the backward hat today, kind of taking it easy. Girlfriend must not be in town, telling him, turn that around. Got a chuckle. Anthony Edwards went to the basket 1 time in game 1. You've got to do more. And then they bitch. It does let me know this as well. People were bitching online about SGA getting foul calls. That's what happens when you take it to the rack and make contact. You do it enough, and there's going to be a whistle. So Anthony Edwards has to do that. 51 three-point attempts from the Timberwolves and 83 field goal attempts in game 1. You can't have that. My assumption is they're going to come out and have a much different approach, a much different focus. Going to be less passive tonight, but that doesn't mean they're going to beat the Thunder. The Thunder are a great basketball team, so we will touch on that as we say hello to the big guy. Playing it cool with that backward hat. Turned 40 recently. Decided, what's up, kids? How we doing? What's happening?
Oh, I've been dreading this all day, all night, really. I thought about it. I can't remember the last time one of my sports teams impacted my mood the way the Knicks have. I have been so depressed about what we watched last night, and
what happened?
I'm still not over it. I
don't even know what you're talking about. Oh, the Knicks. Oh, I meant to tell you. That's right. Good lead-in. Thank you. I went to Hennessy's, where Mike and the OC's pretending that there's a Mad Dog Sports Radio meetup, but it's just him. And he's trying to hoodwink everybody to go right next to Hennessy's. Yeah, he's going to catfish me. Right next to Hennessy's is an Irish pub called Patrick Malloy's. And my sister and her husband, They're in town with the kids, and my sister's husband, my brother-in-law, he's a musician. They were performing there last night, so I was up there. I have to tell you, over the final 2 minutes of the Knicks hosting the Pacers, where I think at that point the Knicks were up 9. I think a little bit, minute and a half to go, the band stopped playing music. These aren't people in this bar that care about sports, and that's how we start the program today. There are certain events that just captivate the non-sports fan. Who's playing? Who's the yellow? What's MSG? They don't know anything, but they can feel it. A good broadcast makes you feel it, big guy. They can start to feel the momentum happening as people slowly start to turn and look like, holy crap, this doesn't seem normal for a basketball game. Who is this? What is this? Is this the playoffs? Yes, it's the playoffs, Melissa, telling my sister. Yes, it's the Eastern Conference. Anyway, it's before the finals. It's the Knicks? Oh, that's New York, Patrick. Yes, it is. And it's the Pacers. Do the Pacers have a team? Where is that? Indianapolis? Shout to Jim Irsay, R.I.P. All of a sudden, the whole entire bar is captivated. Just captivated. The music stops. Everybody is completely watching this game. I'm telling you, hipsters, freaks, homeless people, and I'm just like, I'm there trying to figure out, okay, what is happening? How am I going to take notes for tomorrow? I'm going to have to watch this on YouTube. The big guy's at home. He's trying to get rid of his girlfriend on text so he can watch the game. You know, the whole thing. And I'm watching this game. He laughed, big guy. I mean, come on, life's not that serious. So I'm watching this game, and I'm sitting there thinking, this seems unprecedented. What is happening right now feels unprecedented because the Knicks were killing the Pacers. The big guy hit me with the stats, so I'll give him some credit here. Teams that trailed by 9+ in the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime of a playoff game were 0 for 1,414 since 98, entering Wednesday. Now, teams that were trailing by 9+ in the final minute of the fourth quarter of an overtime or playoff game are 1 in 1,414. So when we say something is unprecedented, last night was truly just that. It was unprecedented. And I have a hard time with the word, that's why I slowed down. I don't need the judgment. So I'm pissed because all of a sudden you and I both bet Pacers, a little emotional hedge on your part, but I bet Pacers plus 4.5. And when Halliburton turned around, he looked up at the shot clock at the other end. You saw him do it because he's awesome. Because Tyrese Halliburton is awesome. Choke, he's the best. So anyway, he looks up, big guy, and then he turns around and he's like, we're down 2. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate the Knicks in game 1. 3-pointer, bounces off the rim, goes straight up into the orbit, hits Mars, bounces off Saturn, comes back down right through the hoop, and the Pacers go nuts. Shamalot, Spike Lee, Kristen Jenner, the whole entire wood at MSG shut the hell up. And then all of a sudden they go to replay, and it's a 2-pointer. We're going to overtime. You know, as a bettor, you know what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, great. Now we're going to overtime, and my 4.5 is going to be a fat loser. But I forgot something. In the process, in the madness at Patrick Malloy's, the band comes back playing before overtime. I forgot something. I'm not going to be a loser because the Knicks are losers. And by the time we got to overtime, big guy, we had the Knicks go up 3, and then I still thought to myself, I'm good. Because all of a sudden, Obi Toppin, what's poppin'? A little dunk, a couple threes later, and the Pacers are big fat winners in game 1. Is that what you were talking about?
That was, and I believe the reason the band stopped playing was the bottlenecking theory. You know, after a car wreck, the traffic that's caused after actually has nothing to do with the actual wreck. It's everyone looking on the other side at the car accident, on the other side of the median, and just turning their heads and slowing down. That was your band last night. They couldn't believe the atrocity that they were watching on the televisions, and they had to stop in their shoes to watch the Knicks melt down in a way we have never seen a basketball team do it. I want to give the Pacers credit because I do think that they absolutely earned it, and it was an Indiana comeback. But let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. The New York Knicks just were the antithesis of everything that they have shown that they have been, and more importantly, that they claim to be. They used to be a smart team. They used to be a savvy team. They used to be an aggressive team. They used to be an unafraid team. But most importantly, you know what the New York Knicks were for a very long time now? They were a clutch team. And in the clutch moments, one player, actually I'll say two players, for Indiana, dropped their actual nuts on the floor at MSG and declared this series over in game one.
Naismith?
Aaron Naismith is the greatest shooter I've ever seen in clutch moments. And then Tyrese Halliburton. Let's have a bigger discussion about Tyrese Halliburton because...
Okay, we will, but just quickly, 888-623-3646. Did you just allow JT into the room? Are we going Knicks choke or Pacers win? Sorry. I'm in a mood today.
I know.
But
because here's the problem. You know what you did to me this morning? We talk before the show every day. And you know what you did to me? I wasn't ready to get here. I was ready initially to say, you know what? It's the Knicks. They're mentally tough. They'll find a way. They'll figure this out. Brunson's built different. You and I have been talking about it for over a year now. And then the way you mocked them this morning, I realized that was all my fandom. I need to go and live in reality here. The New York Knicks are not the better team in this series. They are not the better coach team in this series. And most importantly, they do not have the best and most clutch player in this series.
But they do have the most clutch player based on the award given out for Clutch Player of the Year, and that's Jalen Brunson.
That was for the regular season.
Right. Yeah, but we said it before the game started. The clutch player of this postseason has been Tyrese Halliburton. All right, so I'll settle down and let's talk about this. Yeah, I told you this morning. I'm out on your Knicks. I was obsessed with the Knicks after the postseason run last year. And you know when you lost me, and I was there with you. I was riding with you right there. You lost me in Game 5 in Boston. I can't stand this team. This team's soft. This team stinks. Whether or not you want to call it a choke last night, I don't know how else to categorize it. Again, 0 for 1,414, and it happens. I don't know what choke means, but that feels like the perfect descriptor as to what happened last night at MSG. And we saw them struggle at home against the Pistons, so we shouldn't be surprised, but they crapped the bed.
Yeah, let me add to that. Teams trailing 7+ in the final 50 seconds in the fourth quarter or overtime in the playoffs were 1 and 1,772 before this postseason began. They're now 4 and 1,702 because the Indiana Pacers on this postseason run have added 3 to that list. That is trailing 7, 50 seconds to go, fourth quarter or overtime of a postseason game. This is one of the most clutch teams we've ever seen. This was a team that had a plan. And here's my issue. The New York Knicks' identity for so long has been punching up, trying to prove that they can knock down these big bad teams like the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks, and others. In this moment, the roles were reversed. They were the favorite in the market coming into the game yesterday. They're in a different role. And normally, they're in the spot Indiana's in. They're trailing big, final few minutes, and they play free and loose. We saw a complete role reversal for the Knicks. They got tight. They got sloppy with the basketball. They made a ton of mistakes because they don't know how to play as the favorite. It's easy to hunt. It's a lot harder when you're being hunted. Didn't know how to play with a lead. And unfortunately, they played a team that baited them over and over again by trading 3s for 2s, letting the Knicks score quickly with the shot clock was still at like 20 or 18 or 17, and then chucking it down court, Naismith shooting out of his mind, and consistently did that over and over again, and they fell for the trap. The Knicks were stupid. They fell for Indiana's trap, and in the end, Carlisle coached circles around Tom Thibodeau when it mattered the most.
How do you do a show? I give you credit. How do you do a show when I'm just laughing at you the whole time?
Because no matter what I say, you're gonna laugh.
I know, it just cracks me up. Because I heard you with the hunt and hunted thing. I heard you checking. Yeah. Listen, I want to talk about you now because I talked about my experience at the bar, and I wasn't kidding. People were just completely transfixed. My brother-in-law wouldn't know a basketball from a wiffle ball. So the idea that he was completely locked in was fascinating to me. Let's go inside the apartment. the wall of TVs, like the wall of sound, Pink Floyd. You've got the Doc Gooden behind you. You got your dad's Miami Hurricanes. There must be a Muhammad Ali picture somewhere in the mix. You got Valdosta State in the background. But really, that is your sanctuary where you watch sports. Over the final, let's say 2.5 minutes, walk me through your emotions.
There was a lot of, by the way, by myself saying out loud, a lot of, they're not going to blow this. They're not going to blow this. The phone starts going off with the text messages. I've got my best friend freaking out because he's the biggest Knicks fan I know. He's my only friend other than you, though, so I don't really have anyone else to text. I have the family group chat with my cousins and my uncle freaking out about them blowing the game. I've got my girlfriend who's in Canada right now with her family on a trip with no service, can't watch the game, texting me, what's the update, what's the score, what's the up? So now I have to relay bad news.
How do you even text that to her? Like, how do you text what's happening that's not even reality?
I was just given the score and how much time was left. That's all I couldn't give.
Yeah, but it must have read like fiction. If you're just reading the text messages because, hello, it's never happened before.
That is a good point. I can pull those up here. But that's going on. But at the same time, I'm never believing they're really going to blow it because it's Jalen Brunson. It's the Knicks. And then they get sloppy with the turnovers. They start to look out of sorts. They're very uncharacteristic from what we've known them to be over the last 2 postseasons. So I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to get scared. At some point, I thought Naismith was going to miss a shot, but maybe I also thought at some point the Knicks were going to put a hand in his face. One of those 2 things were going to happen at some point, but instead the guy kept shooting outside of his freaking mind. And then the game actually finishes. And I'm bummed out in a way that I have not experienced my team like letting me down that way where it actually affects my emotions in a long time. The only time I could come back to was the Mets 2007, game 162, Tom Glavine on the hill and allows 7 earned runs in the first inning, and it knocks the Mets out of the playoffs. One of the greatest collapses of all time. That is the only thing I can equate to how I felt last night. And I'm curious if other people have the same idea. Like, what's the last time your team let you down so badly that it actually impacted
I don't
your
care
mood
about
the
that.
next
I don't
day?
care about that.
Do.
You just brought up Naismith. Bro, he went 8 of 9 from 3. He is aptly named Naismith because he created basketball last night. What was that? What was the strategy? The Pacers all of a sudden, as you mentioned this morning, started implementing give them the easy twos just so we don't waste clock here. We're not going to miss 3-pointers the other way. 1 is better than 2. 3 is better than 2 by 1. And then they just slowly started creeping back into it.
He is the first player in NBA history to make 6 3-pointers in the fourth quarter of a playoff game. 6 3-pointers. And the part that drives me nuts is the Knicks kept falling for it. I didn't understand why the Knicks were so quick to get these easy buckets. They were being given these layups. They were being handed easy shots, and time is the key there. Time. You have to eat as much clock as possible there to give Indiana nothing to work with. And they just kept taking the easy twos. Indiana threw it down court. Boom, Naismith 3. Boom, Naismith 3. And then Nembhard hit a couple of huge shots. That guy's a freaking warrior. I mean, they have so many guys, Indiana, that are not scared of the moment at the end of the game, where if we're going to be fair about the Knicks, when it matters at the end of the game, it's only Brunson. You can't trust Towns to come up big. You can't trust Anunoby. Both of them missed massive free throws. And I don't want to hear about the missed goaltending call. The missed goaltending is irrelevant. Those guys make their free throws, which they're supposed to do. That's not even part of the equation. We've got 4, 5, 6 things that led to the Knicks blowing this game. That goaltending's almost irrelevant.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Let's not trifle over the calls. I'm right there with you. Even as a Knicks fan, I don't expect it. We'll get to the Knicks in a second. Halliburton continues the ascension that has already – the precedent had been set. He was great, 31 points, 11 dimes. Like you and I were talking earlier on the phone, a lot of the Halliburton assists are easy buckets for his teammates. And you saw a lot of those late where he draws defenders, an easy bucket. That not all assists are created equal. Naismith, you mentioned, 30 points. He was 8 of 9 from 3, 6 of those in the fourth quarter. Just an all-time performance. And then Siakam chipped in, Nembhard chipped in. I thought Turner and Mathurin, I thought, what's his name? The white guy. McConnell off the bench was great. Obi Toppin with the dunk in overtime to kind of put the FU to the Knicks who had drafted him. It was what we keep talking about, and it's always discussed, shortened bench when we get to the postseason, but we're starting to see the teams that can lengthen, and you saw the impact of it in game one with Oklahoma City, and now Indiana. I mean, the Knicks basically have a guy or two coming off the bench that can give them something. Indiana, the difference maker was the bench outside of the two, Halliburton and Naismith last night.
Yeah, and the Knicks got positive contributions from their bench, and they still lost. McBride came in and scored a bunch, hit a bunch of shots. Campaign actually scored a few shots, had 6 points off the bench. That is a positive day when it comes to the Knicks bench. But at the end, it all comes down to the superstar. It comes down to the guy that they're relying on to hit the big shots when it matters. When we got off the air, you and I were complaining about Halliburton, that he was being too selfless. He had to call his own number. He had to take over this game, and he did that. And I'm watching him last night, and I know I keep sticking on this thing. But people talking about Anthony Edwards being the next face of the league, Anthony Edwards is not better than Tyrese Halliburton. I'm sorry. Tyrese Halliburton is a more complete player than Anthony Edwards. In this playoff run alone, he's already had more playoff big-time moments than Anthony Edwards. He lifts the rest of his team up. Tyrese Halliburton is so much closer to being the next face of the league than Anthony Edwards.
I'll say, and now to your Knicks and Jalen Brunson, who I'm falling off of, and he was honestly coming into this season my favorite basketball player. I thought what he did in the postseason last year was electric, heroic. Even he scored 43 points. I remember like 3 of them. I'll put it that way. And then also fourth quarter, as you mentioned, when he's sitting on the bench, the Knicks play their best ball. Here's one thing I'd be very concerned about if I'm a Knicks fan. I thought the Pacers stunk last night, and I thought the Knicks were pretty good. Obviously, we're going to leave out those last few minutes, and they still lost the game. That does not bode well for a series.
Brunson checked out with 5 fouls, and the Knicks went on a 16-0 run. They didn't miss a beat. They actually got better. When Brunson was on the floor, they were horrible. He was a -8 with 43 points. That's almost impossible to do. And the Knicks starters had horrible plus-minus as a group when they were on the floor together. They were very disjointed at the end of the game. They looked like, it looked like one team had a plan for how to approach being down in the fourth quarter with a few minutes to go, and the other team literally just thought they would just roll the ball out and figure it out. It was mind-blowing to see the Knicks play as sloppy as they did, Brunson not being in the right spot a couple times. The flopping has gotten out of control with Brunson. He looks like Lee Harvey Oswald shot him from the grassy knoll in the fourth after he comes down for a shot half the time, and no one touches him.
Oh, my heart hurts. Oh, you're out on Brunson.
I'm over the flopping. I'm just over. It's excessive, and it doesn't look legitimate 90% of the time.
And you know what's crazy? Karl Anthony Towns, again, box score warrior, had a great game. But when it mattered, did he miss the most important free throw? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, we can.
And he missed a 3 that came up short.
He's such a donk.
Coming up short, it's like putting, right? It's okay to miss long. It's never okay to miss short. What?
Oh, you're going golf analogy. Yeah, I was getting excited. That's why I said,
It's okay to miss long. It's not okay to miss short. Missing short means you're scared. It means you.
Yeah, didn't he airball it?
He airballed it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying here. So when it matters, he choked,
That's your point. That Karl Anthony Towns is your best friend.
And then
you're going to be best friends with him.
And then he's fighting with OG Anunoby on the bench because Towns was wrong, didn't know where the help was coming on a play, and just let someone cut straight to the basket. Josh Hart got beaten a couple plays on defense. I mean, it's one of the worst meltdowns we've ever seen. And for Indiana, it's just business as usual because they did this to Milwaukee in Game 5. They did this to Cleveland in Game 2. And now they did it to the Knicks in Game 1 and took complete control of the series. Have you seen what the series price is now?
Okay, this is what I was going to tell you. I believe it's literally a mirror of what we started with, but the other way.
Indiana's slightly more favored than the Knicks were yesterday.
Well, lay it with your mortgage, people. The Pacers aren't losing this series. Are you insane?
Pacers minus 165. The Knicks the other way plus 135. The question is, can the Knicks come back from this? Like, does this meltdown carry over into Game 2? And by the way, if they lose Game 2, it's completely over. There's no shot they go to Indiana and they win 3 in a row.
Brunson, Towns, Anunoby, Bridges. I'm looking hard. Like, it all looks good on paper, and that's the problem. Now, we're going to come back with the calls, and that's all we're going to do for the rest of the half hour. You got the big guy. He's a Knicks fan, and he's struggling today. But if we can separate your feelings, we can all admit one of the most exciting sporting events that I've seen in many, many years, regardless of fandom. That was theater.
It was. And if this is the beginning of the end of the Knicks season, I hope it leads to Giannis coming to New York next year.
See, hey, silver lining, big guy. Not the playbook, the big guy. Because that was don't overreact after one game, but that wasn't just a game.
Oh no, we witnessed a murder. And that was the Knicks' hopes and dreams were murdered on primetime TV at Madison Square Garden. And Tyrese Halliburton is the baddest dude on the planet right now. He can do whatever. He could do any sign language, Helen Keller style, after any shot he wants for the rest of his life. He has the right to do anything. I don't care that he made the choke signal. I know some people were up in arms about that, but he can do whatever he wants.
Helen Keller, get on AI. Shorty went through some stuff, in Amsterdam. I mean, she really did. My goodness. What a game. I'm almost exasperated thinking about, because it's just like watching that, and then when they did the replay and Halliburton's got a toe on the line, we're getting more basketball. Knicks start off well in overtime, and then it's just Obi Toppin with the dunk. Unbelievable.
I also don't care that it was only a 2 for Halliburton. The fact that it went through his head in the moment. Oh, wait, I have an easy 2? Hold on. Let me go for the kill shot right now and step back for 3.
Best.
Just that he's thinking that way, I mean, that's a dangerous dude. He is a dangerous dude right now.
And also the fact that shot bounced off the rim, hit the Sirius XM satellite. Hit the Sirius XM satellite, came back down through the MSG roof and went right through the bucket. The best. And then the choke sign emulating Reggie, who was on the call. Theater.
Didn't make it any more enjoyable, though. I will tell you, I did not enjoy any of it. I can appreciate it. I didn't enjoy any of it.
I was just laughing. Sometimes when sports do that, you laugh. You go, you throw your hands up, and you're just like, what are you going to do? That's crazy. And we're privileged to get to watch it. 888-623-3646. That's our reaction. Yours is next. The big guy. He's down bad, people. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, so as I come to the calls, maybe the theme can be cheer the big guy up. How can the Knicks recover? Go New York, go New York, go. They went down 0-1. How can the Knicks recover from what can only be described as pure theater? Even Naya, our producer, she was, bar hopping after the show last night. She went into a bar. Nobody cared about basketball. People were transfixed. I'm hanging out by the beach with a bunch of hippies, and they couldn't stop watching the game. That is sports. Let's get to it. The Pacers, a 1-0 lead for the big guy. And we start with Al in White Plains. Al, help us.
Well, for the big guy, first of all, I hope you guys are doing well. And for the big guy, it's just one word, finish. They were fine until the last 2.5 minutes. Your two best players combined for 78 points, and they shot over 60%. You went to the foul line 40 times. You only made 28 of them, which you got to clean up, but finish. You can't give up 20 points in 2.5 minutes. That is flabbergasting. And the thing that we are not talking, if this was Steph or Clay or another renowned shooter, even Tatum, somebody known for threes, we would be talking about this as the greatest single shooting display in NBA history in terms of a comeback. But he's not known as this pure shooter, even though he's upped his ante to 43% from three. He's known more as a Jason Hart type digger, nonstop, nose to the grindstone. Look at the way he defended 45 feet from the hoop against Brunson and drove him nuts. You don't expect him to take that many threes, let alone make those many threes. But he was open, and he had the balls to take them and make them. It's one of the greatest shooting displays in the history of NBA postseason play, period, end of story. He was phenomenal. And, oh, by the way, then I'm going to go defend Brunson 45 feet from the hoop. Can this guy get a little more energy? It was stunning. It really was. I was flabbergasted, and I love Halliburton. I love the pass to Nembhard. I love the pass to Nembhard for the layup after he had scored. Now he draws the defense, and he kicks to the backdoor cutter who catches Hart falling asleep. The kid's a great passer. He can't guard his statue. I understand that. But he is a hell of an offensive player. He's got incredible onions. And can I just say one thing? And I know everybody loves Chuck. But for Charles Barkley, at the end of the telecast, to get down on his hands and knees and beg the commissioner to let Halliburton's father back into the building, he served his sentence. He was out of the building for 2 games. 2 games. Enough already. You want to bring him back for the finals? But the guy was on the court going after an NBA player in his face, and you're going to let him back in the building after 2 games because he served his sentence? Do me a favor, Chuck. Please be quiet. All right. Let the guy pay a little price and let him sit out a couple more games. He can go back into the building when his son's playing in the final.
Now, Al, great job, but do you feel better? Because he did bring up that your 2 best players were awesome in the game and you still lost. Now, does that make you feel better?
No, because you know what that sounds like? It sounds like a team that we all admit just doesn't have it despite winning a title a year ago. This sounds exactly like what went on with the Celtics. Celtics put up numbers, they put up stats, empty calories, and end of the game, the Knicks take their heart out. It feels like the same thing's happening, just the Knicks are on the other side of the equation this time.
Can we defend Brunson a little bit? Is he tired?
No, he's definitely tired.
Because he does look a little fatigued.
Yeah, he's definitely tired, but he got a lot of rest on the bench because he had 5 fouls, so he shouldn't have been that tired.
Let's go to John in Maryland here, VSiN Live. Hi, John.
Brunson normally looks fatigued in the face. That's a normal look. As for, on Sunday, I'm telling my kids, I'm a respected school teacher, I'm telling them, you know what, I'm going to stop cursing, starting today. Well, it was a 14 seconds last night, but Towns could have made a 4-point game. That's the turning point for me, okay? That my hands slammed the ottoman with a grunt. But when that ball bounced and hit the bottom of the Millennium Falcon, is when the F word came out so loud, louder than ever. I think Halliburton. We need that. It's good for the growth of the NBA. It's good that it's Halliburton. I hope, unfortunately, guys, I don't want to see anything happen to Halliburton. I don't want to see him have, an Achilles injury or anything. I don't want that. If it happens, it happens. But I don't want it. But if it happens, it happens.
John is a respectable school teacher that is upset. And one thing Al said that I totally agree with is like what I meant about Halliburton. All assists aren't made equally. Like when he drew the defenders, that layup, that backdoor cut to Nembhard was just like easy bucket. Now let's keep the momentum going. It was just perfection. It was great offensive basketball.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to point out, and you may think I'm crazy here, but this was a team that wasn't easily distracted for a while. And then they beat the Celtics and shut down Manhattan and celebrated like they'd won their third championship in a row. And the fans were going crazy and they're leaving the arena seeing that. I feel like they started believing it was all happening before it was actually happening. So maybe losing this game is a kick in the butt where they go, all right, we gotta get a reality check, focus again, lock in, and win this series.
All right, we'll see tomorrow night how they bounce back. Kevin in San Diego here. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Great show. Yeah, talking about the game last night, first of all, I've been watching basketball for a long time, and it was sad to see that New York couldn't hold a 14-point lead in the last two and a half minutes or so, whatever. But, yeah, they need to work on their defense. I mean, offensively, they showed that they could, as was stated, stay with the Indiana team, but they need to go fix their defense. The other point, I think you mentioned earlier that about the new face of NBA. I agree with you. I'm sick and tired of people saying that it's Edwards. Edwards has been the most inconsistent player in the playoffs. One game he shows up, he scores 30, 40, but then the next game he's gone, or at least for the majority of the game is gone. That's not the face of an NBA. He's got a long time to be called. The face of the NBA is more, like you said, Halliburton, or I would actually pick SGA over Halliburton. But these two guys have been consistent. They play both sides of the ball, and I would much rather have these guys be the faces of NBA than Edwards.
Yeah, no, Kevin, thank you. SGA is a great defense. SGA's the fact that they're actually playing against one another highlights. SGA's on another level. He's the MVP. In 15 seconds, because I want to make sure I get all the calls, can you just quickly tell me why Halliburton is hated by the world?
He was voted the most overrated player. He was inconsistent for a little bit there. But
it's got to have something to do more. Like, is there a personality thing?
Well,
like,
it's also that thing that I told you about where, like, his voice changed in different interviews where, like, one day is a deep voice, one day is a high voice. I don't know. People just don't seem to like the guy. He doesn't defend. People love to use that don't watch games. I'm one of those people who watches as few games as these people, but they'll go, oh, he doesn't play good defense. Yeah, well, he had 31 and 11 last night. I think that makes up for bad defense.
There you go. Connecticut, we say hi to Tony. Hey, Tony.
Hey, guys, great show always. Love listening to you while I'm driving home.
Thanks,
Listen,
Tony.
Knicks fans need to calm down. And all day today I'm listening like it's the end of the world. It is one game, everybody. One game, and Indiana won on a freak shot that you couldn't do if you shot the ball 5,000 times. That wouldn't happen. It's ridiculous. The Knicks just had to make one free throw more, and that game doesn't end up the way it does, And I used to be a Halliburton fan. I liked him. I always stuck up. He's underrated. After that choke sign, I hope he falls flat on his face. You have no idea.
Tony,
I don't get it.
Now there's some confidence. Tony's giving you some confidence. He's saying, come on, man, everybody just chill. And I am guilty of this. I will say that. I get ahead of myself, so he's there you go. Some confidence. It's one game.
They didn't lose on a fluke shot. It was the moments that led to the shot is why they lost. They never should have been in a position for Halliburton to potentially win the game in that situation. They're lucky he only sent it to overtime because he would have hit a three if his foot was just a quarter inch the other way. Shout out to Gordon Bombay.
So my vibe is it's what it was going into this series. You're not really a Knicks fan.
Oh no, the Knicks are still winning the series. I'll stand by that, but I'm still scared.
Oh.
I was always scared, and I always thought Indiana was going to steal a game early. I just didn't think it would be game 1 like that when the Knicks had it locked up with 2 minutes to go.
I would definitely 2-1 you if I was willing to take your money. $5,000 to your 2,500. I'll take the Pacers.
No, you know
get
I'm
five.
never going to do that. You know I'm never going to do that.
I wouldn't take your money anyway, but I don't think you're confident that the freaking Knicks are winning the series.
I wasn't confident when it began, but I also have to be a realist that there is also another locker room with the Pacers right now that they're relishing what they did last night. They're feeling really good. And when I look at the line for game 2, the game 2 line tells me the Knicks are set to bounce back. They're laying 5.5 in game 2. They're going to win that
line
one.
The line is controlled by idiots. It's just people expecting the Knicks to bounce back.
And they're going to. And then we'll have them right where we want them. I don't feel great about it. I didn't feel good at the start of the series. I don't feel great now, but the Knicks were never going to sweep them.
Okay, so Knicks in 7.
Oh, that was always the prediction. Knicks in 7.
No. The prediction was Pacers in 5 right here. We shall see. We shall see, though. Listen, I'd love to be proven wrong. Pulling for the big guy here. Let's go to Brooklyn and say hi to Ray. Hi, Ray.
Listen, good evening, guys. You would not like to be proven wrong because you obviously sound like a Knicks hater. And I've spoken to you guys once or twice before. Isn't it one of you guys are a big Luka Doncic fan? Isn't that correct?
Oh, yeah, Luka's great.
Both of us.
Okay, ironic because you're crying about the quote-unquote flopping that Jalen Brunson does when nobody cries and flops more than that red-faced baby.
Wait, what's ironic about it? Can you help me understand the irony?
Because you're a fan of Luka, but you're getting all over Jalen Brunson.
Wait. So because I like Luka, I can't be objective about Brunson?
Well, what? You're never objective about Luka. You have a double standard. That's my point. But anyway,
what's my double? No, but I'm trying to get at what's my double standard. I'm just curious.
You're crying. Have you ever cried and complained?
Don't you just want to say it out loud to make yourself feel better?
What? That he's the great white hope, and that's why you.
There you go. I was waiting for the race, Ray. I was waiting for the race, and you walked right into it.
Well, anyway, listen, about the series, we're going to win in 5 or 6. Now it'll just be 6 or 7.
Okay.
And about Jalen Brunson, right? Because like I said, Joel Embiid, the biggest biatch and crybaby there is, and foul hunt and flopper. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about SGA, who, by the way, has not shown up in these playoffs when his team really needs him. The guy goes to 35. When the game is already out of reach in Game 7, prior to that, he had 7 points with 2 minutes remaining in the first half. He's scared to shoot. He's non-aggressive, right? Until his teammates get him out of the hole, and then he puts on a fake cape and fake balls, unlike Jalen Brunson, who does it all game, every game. And the other thing is, if you're going to blame somebody, blame OG Anunoby, who we traded 2 cornerstone pieces for, or minimum.
Wait, hold on. Right. What are you laughing at? Ray was on your side.
Hey, he called R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly cornerstone pieces.
Wait, hold on. Aside from Ray calling me racist, I like the cut of his jib. I'm asking for people, and I see this is where I'm different. Even though Ray just literally called me racist, I'm Team Ray. I am Team Ray because Ray came back and said, look, you guys are tripping. The Knicks are going to win this series. And that's all I'm asking for. I'm asking for reasons why. And he's saying Brunson's going to step up. I love Brunson. Brunson just looked like he was in a comatose yesterday.
He was
and
also
he did score 43. He did still score 43, so that's on me.
Yeah, but the flopping is legit. And people complain about Embiid's flopping. They complain about Luka's like everyone does. But in this moment, Luka wasn't playing last night. Jalen Brunson was, and he was flopping all over the place once again, so we have to talk about it.
Where is Luka from? Like Serbia or Slovakia? Slovenia? I don't even know if you're considered white if you're from there. You're just Slovenian.
You're clear.
So I can't. And by the way, everybody knows back to our rap days. no show is more United Nations than this one. The least
won-
racist show that's ever existed.
We won an award for it.
Legit sitting on my mantle out there, least racist sports
Yes.
radio host on the planet.
Yeah.
All right. Brunson is my guy. This is my motivation. It's reverse psychology that I'm using with Brunson here. And okay, just the shtick aside, I do think he has been carrying this team from the last year's postseason, and he just looks freaking tired. Somebody said earlier, a little, maybe it was Al, a little pep in your step coming across half court. He is walking the ball up quite often.
And he gave the ball up a couple times to Bridges as well, which kind of showed that he was kind of exhausted at the end of that game. But here's my problem. I still think the Knicks find a way in 7. I think it's insane to have confidence the Knicks win it. I think it's insane if you're an Indiana Pacers fan and you think that they're 100% going to win it too. This series is going to be what we saw last night for 7 straight games.
I think last night was the Knicks' shot. I'm going to listen. I'll come on and be like, dude, I'm such an idiot. I always get ahead of myself. I react to one game, but I think the Pacers are better.
Well, here's the interesting part is Monday's going to be fascinating because they play Friday, they play tomorrow, we'll be off the air before the game ends, and they play Sunday. So come Monday's show, one of these teams will have a 2-1 lead. The question is, who is it?
Are you going to be singing some Buffett? Come Monday, it'll be all right. Come Monday, the big guy's going to be holding his boo tight because the Knicks are up 2-1. By the way, Memorial Day, shout to the service men and women. We will be working. So we will be here talking about the Knicks trailing 0-3. We're coming back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Stanley Cup playoffs are on SiriusXM tonight, 8 East. Listen to Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final between the Panthers and the Hurricanes. Florida feed is on Sirius 211, XM 220 on the Carolina feed, Sirius 210, XM 219, and the national broadcast is on NHL Network Radio Channel 91. You can also listen to all the action on the SiriusXM app. And the cool thing about the app now, I think it was Jacob, oddly enough, doing something positive. Jacob told us on the app, if you're listening to the program, there's a phone, like, avatar, and you just click that, and it calls the show. So no need to go to your contacts. Just hit us up, 888-623-3646. Obviously talking about the Pacers' win last night. I do feel not necessarily bad for the big guy because, listen, you got 6 games to go potentially. You can still win this series. You got literally 4 games to go if you want to go ahead and sweep them after that degrading loss yesterday. So we've got plenty to do on the Pacers-Knicks. We've got, obviously, T-Wolves Thunder coming up in a little over a half hour. And we've got a bunch of sound from last night that I can't wait to hear, which we'll play for you as well. So a lot to do as the big guy licking his wounds after a miraculous final 2.5 there into overtime. I asked Dustin because obviously I couldn't hear the volume where I was. I said, what was the vibe, MSG? He said, you didn't really give me an answer. Just like the Halliburton thing. Naya gave us the answer. The reason Halliburton is hated so much is because he's zesty and he dances on TikTok.
Yeah,
People don't like that.
You love asking me questions that I don't know the answer to, and then when I guess, you hate the answer. And I admit I'm guessing every time.
Because you're obsessed with social. I expect you to know these things.
I'm not obsessed with social. I go to therapy now.
You just checkmated me because I was about to say you're not obsessed with social. The first thing you ever said to me is I don't respect people unless they have 10,000 followers.
That was almost 10 years ago.
Right. It shows the ignorance all the way up until today.
It's fair. It's fair.
Which, by the way, that was 10 years ago. And you have how many followers?
Not that many. Is that 8,000, something like that?
So you still don't respect yourself. That is the need for therapy.
No, me then doesn't respect myself. Me now does not care. But I would say this. I'm starting to do the Pythagorean theorem in my head.
Oh, goodness gracious, big guy.
It was tough. Pythagorean theorem. It's really those two words next to each other.
Why would you even attempt it?
Because in my head it sounded pretty good, but I'm doing the math in my head. I'm not so sure I want the Knicks to win this series. Because they're not going to win the finals. They're not going to beat Oklahoma City now. Why not lose? You make the trade for Giannis, and then you have a real chance to win the finals next year. Spin zone.
Okay, well, maybe part of my take will invite you on their podcast because that doesn't play here. It's the stupidest thing ever. If you want to do shtick and get a Hims promotion, go for it. But you don't want the Knicks to make the NBA Finals? Is that you want to end the segment that way?
That would be my saving grace, I would say. If they fail to reach the finals, I will be okay with it because that means Giannis is in my future, and then they can really have a chance to win the NBA championship.
Just a quick retort, they can get to the finals and lose and still trade for Giannis.
No, because they'll say, well, look, we got there. We were 50-50 shot. We'll run it back. That's the issue with that.
Oh, okay. Hey, you win. You win. You're right. Don't cheer for your team to win. The big guy's got sports figured out, people. 2025. Josh Applebaum? Gummy time. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Remember, you got a hockey game starting in about 8 minutes. VSiN experts have you covered, and you can become a pro and get those picks right now. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe. You also get the betting splits. You get all the information. You get the guides. You get Josh Applebaum's picks, Dustin Swedelson's picks, and everybody there. Every day they're emailed to you. It's awesome, and it's $19 through August 1st. You cannot beat it. Go to VSiN.com/subscribe, but you have to use the promo code SIRIUS, SIRIUS. Dustin Swedelson, a rough night sleeping. Dustin wears the apnea mask, and he had to, after that Knicks game, he put an apnea mask on, and he put a mask on top of the mask because my man was sawing logs with anger. Is that true, big guy?
We doubled up the oxygen last night. We let the airflow go to a higher level to make sure I didn't die in my sleep because I was down, Josh. I was not happy. I can't remember the last time sports actually bummed me out like that. It was
let's welcome in Josh, who he also has a little fun conversation that I think all men can relate to before we say goodbye, and that has to do with bachelor parties. Lars is going at it for the second time. All right, and so we'll discuss that coming up here in just a bit. But Josh Applebaum, of course, VSiN betting analyst. All Systems Go is the podcast. You can download it wherever you get your podcasts. And again, if you like a market-based approach, that podcast is perfect for you. At Josh_Insights on Twitter. He also has his new book coming up, The Sharp Betting Playbook, How to Analyze the Market, Go Contrarian, and Bet Like a Data-Driven Wise Guy, all about the NFL. And that is dropping. You can go pre-order that on Amazon. Josh, what's cracking?
What's going on, Patrick? Dustin, great to be with you. And yeah, we got to get into a conversation about bachelor parties. We're going to talk sports betting. Don't worry. You can't get away from betting in a betting show like that. But I am going to a cabin in the woods in Vermont for my buddy's bachelor party. We're leaving tomorrow, so it's going to be Friday to Sunday. Should be a great time. But I want to get into the do's and don'ts of bachelor party etiquette. I want to get into what makes a good bachelor party, what makes a bad bachelor party. I think this is something that we can all get into. And side note, Dustin, I love you, man, but I don't feel bad for you because now you know what it was like for my Celtics to be up 20 points a game and blowing it. Unfortunately, your Knicks experienced it last night.
Yeah, but
little camaraderie. I like that.
But your Celtics won a title last year. You saw them win multiple titles with Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce. So you've experienced the highs. For Knicks fans, this is new. We're not used to mattering. We're not used to contending. We're not used to being a favorite and then someone coming into our house and embarrassing us the way the Pacers did last night.
That is true. It's been a while, and you can tell by all the celebrities and how they go all nuts, sideline everything. Larry David at the game. Side note, of all the celebrities you see, LD is at the absolute best there. I think there's a great Curb opportunity. I love to see Curb come back, but yeah, man, Dustin, you ain't dead yet, man. I think obviously you lose last night, but the Pacers look like a great team. I wouldn't quit on your Knicks just yet. The series price now doesn't look great. Indiana's -165, Knicks +135. But hey, Halliburton could get injured at any point. You got a pretty scrappy team. I wouldn't give up just yet.
That's what we're rooting for now.
Hey, leave it to Josh. He's into aliens, and he just brought a voodoo doll.
Yeah, their bus could break down. Their bus could break down on the way to the arena, and they could miss tip-off, and the Knicks could go up 50.
Well, let's talk about it from a market perspective. We saw that game last night close 4.5. So if you're like me and you had the Pacers, you thank your lucky stars there with that crazy unprecedented run towards the end there into overtime. So what's adjusted? What have we done with the price from game one, side and total, to game two here?
Yeah, so a couple of things that we've seen here, Patrick, and was notable to me. So you made a great call with that game one spread because that was kind of a line freeze in my opinion. I wasn't brave enough like you to play it, but I did notice that was 4.5, got down to 4 at some shops. You had the public leaning Knicks, but that line kind of stayed some liability toward the Pacers. One thing from game one that did not hit, and you know me, I love respecting the market and looking at line movement. You actually had some respect when he hit that under in game one, where it was 223.5 down to, 221 or so. Obviously, it flew over. Looking for the next game, I mean, you're still Knicks -6 coming up here. Some shops are down to 5.5. For tonight's game, though, Patrick, anyone want to play this over? That's what I'm looking toward because it seems a little fishy to me. If you look at what happened in the first game, obviously, if you were taking the points with the Timberwolves, you're feeling really good at halftime. You know, they have the lead, and then obviously OKC puts the pedal to the metal and absolutely blows by them. But if you look in the second half, they only scored 40 points, Minnesota did. So to me, if you're looking at the over here and the market has risen, it opened as low as 214. You're up to 217. I saw some books just jump up to 217.5. We're, 20 minutes away from the game. When I see late movement like that, I always try to respect that because it tells me limits are raised and big bets are coming in. But the splits right now look pretty good on the over, 75% bets, over 80% of dollars. Rhythm, which is the AI model that I lean on and work with, that helps power the All Systems Go podcast. They have a predicted total here of 218.6. So maybe you get some more offense from Minnesota. I felt like the points with Minnesota in game one with that rest advantage, and you saw the line drop in their favor, like 7.5 down to 7. Obviously, second half, it wasn't Minnesota who looked, it was Minnesota was gassed, not OKC. It was kind of the opposite of what you thought. This line's moving to OKC again, guys. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if OKC covers again. They open like -7 after up to 8. Some shops are going to 8.5. And it is a bit of a trendy dog with Minnesota. Like right now it's circa only 45% bets, but 70% of the money is on Oklahoma City. So the market's telling me line's going to OKC, line's going up a bit. Maybe OKC covers a higher scoring game tonight.
Josh, I'm just curious because we have two similar situations in the NBA and the NHL right now where the home team in game one loses. And then game two, we have the Hurricanes taking on the Panthers in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Carolina's favored -135. Market believes that they need it more. They should win this one. Same goes for the Knicks in game two, where they're hosting Indiana tomorrow, and they're 5.5-point favorites. How do you feel about that spot where the market is saying the team that needs it more is going to get it and is the big favorite?
So I kind of respect when the narrative aligns with the market. When the narrative is one thing and the market is another thing, that's to me when you might want to lay off because not everything is lining up perfectly. So for example, like Carolina, Dustin, you mentioned that number at close like -135. They opened like -120. So there was a lot of respected money as this game starts. Pretty much right now that was leaning and really hitting Carolina hard. Like you saw that line really get steamed up toward the Hurricanes. The other angle though is like there's an overemphasis in the media and I think in just betting conversation of like something is due or the gambler's fallacy of, hey, this happened so many times. Like you always make the example of the roulette table. When Patrick's playing roulette and he sees black hit 10 in a row, does that mean he automatically goes red the next, or, the opposite color? Not exactly. Just because something is due over the course of a long series of events doesn't mean it's guaranteed to happen. So if everyone's saying this is a bounce back spot, they got to win this game, all the pressure. If the market is also moving toward that team with all the pressure, okay, I could get behind that. But if the narrative says, line's going to the favorite, or the narrative says the favorite's got to cover, yet the line's dropping toward the dog, when you have conflicting data versus narrative situations, to me, that's a layoff. And I try to never bet games based on the theory of something just being due.
You go market, but Dustin and Josh, what I will tell you is pretty simple rule. If I'm getting a plus price on the team that I know for a fact is better, Florida is better than Carolina. I may lose it, but plus money's fun, and I'm going with it, and I'm betting Florida.
You could also lay a goal with Florida, who's the underdog, and get plus 210. That's what I was looking at.
They dominated in game one, and they were on short rest. So, I don't know. Hey, Carolina, like you said, the books tell you they should bounce back and win. It's the up-down situation in the postseason. Josh just perfectly laid out narrative, but I do believe Florida's better. Did you guys do anything with this game? Josh, we'll start with you because the puck hasn't dropped yet. Did you end up doing anything here?
No, I mean, if I was going to play this one, I'd have to hold my nose and go Carolina just because that line move was really notable to me. The fact that obviously Florida looked like the better team. I mean, as a Bruins fan, I'm rooting for Brad Marchand in this spot. Can't believe he's on the third line. That talks about, shows you how good and deep this Florida team is. But with all that being said, Florida looked unbeatable in game one. Yeah, Carolina had a couple goals late, but they were completely outclassed. With that being said, why is the line going further to Carolina tonight? That just kind of tells me that there was a lot of respected money laying it with Carolina. And guys, the other thing I noticed is like you're cashing a lot of overs in the NHL playoffs, which is a bit of an aberration. You saw it, first games of both of these Eastern and Western Conference finals. I played the under in that first Florida game, and they had like 3 goals in the first period and it was pretty much dead on arrival. But it is interesting to me that you're still seeing the 5.5 really juiced under on this game. Like Florida Carolina's 5.5 under, minus 120, minus 130. So even though you saw a lot of goals in game one, you're still seeing a lot of these, sharp NHL bettors banking on some lower scoring games and still playing unders, even though you saw a barrage of goals in game one.
By the way, I like the Panthers with you as well, Patrick, just the plus price, but I'd also do a little sprinkle on that minus 1.5 plus 275. Go reverse puck line. If we're going to go for the Panthers, we're going to go all in.
Hey, speaking of bachelor parties, let's get loose. You know what I'm saying? Are you two doing anything? Josh, I talked about it a little bit earlier with the total tonight, and I think it opened like 213-ish, 213.5. It's all the way up to close to 217-ish. I just think you're going to see I don't think they're going to win the game, but this has to be a different approach from obviously Minnesota, who scored 88 points. They shot 51 3-pointers. I think they are going to get buckets. I know how great Oklahoma City's defense is, but you saw 70 points in the second half from a team that was supposed to be tired off of Game 7 in Oklahoma City on Sunday. That didn't affect them. That's a young team. Again, you can tell me about the market. I got a feeling we're going to see some points tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what sharp bettors are leaning. Just the fact that you mentioned it, Patrick, as low as 213.5, 214. You're now 217. Again, some books are even pushing 218. And it's always, interesting to me, like when a game goes under in game one and then the total is set higher in game two and it's getting bet up, that's kind of one of those fishy plays that doesn't make sense that, the old me would have said, oh, this is ridiculous. Books are wrong. I'll play the under again. When you bet long enough, you kind of realize when something's fishy doesn't make sense, you want to kind of get behind it. So that's another reason why I do lean over in this one. Now, I do have a prop bet for you guys, and I think one thing that I'll be looking for is Julius Randle tonight. I know he's obviously a popular player here, but I noticed his over-under for points and rebounds is 26.5. Now, some shops are as high as 27.5. Shop around, definitely you can still get the 26.5, but he's been really consistent at cashing this over. Game one, he had a total of 36. He had 28 points, 8 rebounds. He was kind of your only guy who gave them any offense whatsoever in game one. And he's gone over this number, 26.5 in 5 straight games. And also he's gone over in 9 of his last 10. He's second on the team in minutes per game. Edwards is the only guy who gets more. Can you give me Julius Randle over, 27 or more points and rebounds combined? I mean, he could do that just assuming points, as is. So I'll be banking on Randle again. I think he's playing very well with a lot of confidence. He's hitting his threes. He's rebounding. Give me the over 26.5 rebounds and points for Julius Randle.
Yeah, all right, boys. Well, if you're like us and you were on Florida, made the big guy, we got a goal a minute in. So I'm telling you, it's Kachuk. This Florida team is a freaking wagon. Let's go.
Wow. By the way, Josh, I'm with you on Randle. I went over PRA 32.5. He may not clear it, but he's been so good. And when the rebounds aren't there, sometimes the assists there, but the points are always there. He may clear yours on just points alone tonight. That's how good he's been offensively for them. I'm very heavy on Minnesota. I like Minnesota today. Patrick and I really loved the Timberwolves in game one. And I still believe all the reasons why we loved Minnesota in game one, but this is a dangerous gambling game I'm playing here where I was proven wrong, and I'm going right back and being stubborn here, Josh, where I'm going, no, everything I believe then is still true. Let's ride with Minnesota tonight. So I'm a little bit nervous about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always okay to be nervous before you make a bet. I had a baseball coach in high school who always said, if you're nervous, that's always a good thing because it means that you care. It means that you're invested. If you're not nervous, number one, you're underestimating sports betting because sports betting is very difficult. And if you think it's going to be easy, you're going to have a rude awakening there, knowing that it is not very easy. So to your point, Dustin, also you have a lot of guys who just did not play well in game one, like Naz Reid, 1 for 11 field goals. I mean, he's a guy who's been pretty dependable off the bench. DiVincenzo, 3 of 14. Nikhil Walker-Alexander, 3 of 11. I mean, you had guys who did not shoot very well. And Anthony Edwards, he only took 13 shots. Jason Tatum, I watched Celtics games before he got hurt, obviously. he can shoot like 30 shots a game. Like, I just think Edwards, 13 shots is not enough for him. I think he's got to be a little more selfish, and you need these role players to kind of show up tonight. Guys like Reed, DiVincenzo, and Alexander Walker.
So for tomorrow's game, Dustin, I haven't officially, and maybe you want to hold off, gotten a play from you on your Knicks, the exact expectations that Josh was discussing, that bounce back spot. I think, is it up to 6, boys, or has it come back down with the Knicks laying it tomorrow?
Yeah, 6. Some shops 5.5. Is that what you're seeing, Dustin?
Yeah. So 4.5, 4.5 close on 1. So even more confidence. Dustin, I'll start with you. In the Knicks, are you comfortable laying the 6?
No, here's where I would look. I would go under the 226.5. I think the Knicks realized it was a mistake in game 1, trying to run with the Pacers up and down, and that's what did them in the end, where they were completely gassed. I think not just physically, but mentally as well. I think they're going to limit these possessions. There's not going to be as many buckets to come by. So I think under 226.5 on the total is the play. If you force me to bet aside, I'll lay it with the Knicks because I have to have my boys bounce back.
Let's go. Josh?
So I'm with Dustin on the under, just because, again, it doesn't make much sense. You had these teams combined for just a ridiculous amount of points in the last game. Yeah, you needed overtime, with Halliburton's insane, shot that went up in the air and came back down, and foot on the line, you force OT, but still 138, 135. You go well over, 270 points. The notable thing to me is that even though you had such a high scoring game 1, when this opened around 227, it's not like the Sharps said, hey, that's too low, let's hammer it and go over. No, they went the other way. They dropped this down 227 to, 226, 225.5 even. So that's definitely notable to me. And then also, if you look at the Pacers in the postseason as a dog, 6-2 against the spread. So, I mean, that's something, just kind of the, us against the world. No one believes in us, these big comebacks. I think at some point, and Reggie Miller even mentioned it, he, when they were down at the very end, he said, oh, Halliburton's a guy who loves this moment. And I forgot what he said, but he was basically literally a premonition of the next play where Halliburton, obviously it makes that incredible 3. So I would lean under. And even though, it might be kind of a sharp play to play the Knicks, I mean, are you really going to keep betting against, the Pacers when they're getting points? Again, they're 6-2 against the spread as a dog this postseason.
I agree with both of you on the under, by the way. I believe the point scored last night is the most since the 70s in the postseason combined. So I always want, if you have something historic happen, I like to go the other way just because you can't expect it to continue. Dustin, I meant to ask you, because you were at home watching it, what was Reggie Miller like on the call?
I thought he was good until right till the end, and then the pointing at Halliburton was a little bit weird. But I actually thought he was pretty solid and not too. I thought he was going to be over the top obnoxious. I think someone talked to him about not doing that. I thought he was perfectly fine. I just don't know how it's allowed. I don't know why they would allow this to happen, why they would let him be in the building, why all of this is being allowed by the NBA when there's a million other options to call these games.
It'd be like you hosting the show by yourself and me coming on and doing a color commentary of you hosting on an alternative network, clowning you the whole time. Look at that intro.
You do that on the regular.
Do it in real time. Yeah.
No,
listen, I didn't say I'm not a weasel. I am a weasel. I'm just saying it'd be funnier if I was curious how I saw the viral thing where Reggie was pointing at him. I actually thought that was cool. It's just theater. I mean, it's whatever. He's a Pacer fan. You want him to be real. You're a Knicks fan. You're on national radio. You were talking about it. Josh, always teaching moments from you. And Major League Baseball and weather. How would you advise bettors to handle?
Yeah, so I think it's really important. And, Dustin and Patrick, we focus a lot in the NFL when it comes to weather. Windy unders is your basic starting point. We've talked about that ad nauseum. When the wind blows 10 miles an hour or more, at least 20 or more, you see unders cash at a much higher rate. It's harder to throw the ball, kick the ball, you miss kicks, you're going to run it more, chew up the clock. But I think a lot of people, and especially new bettors with legalization spreading, we're up to nearly 40 states now, they like playing baseball, but they don't even think about the weather. And I think that's a big mistake because I'll give you a perfect example of paying attention to the weather, helping you get a win today. It was the Angels and the Athletics. Now, part of it might be the fact that the Athletics are playing in a AAA stadium in Sacramento and it's small and it just, they're cashing ridiculous overs. I think the over is now 17-8 at the Sacramento A's stadium. But what jumped out to me with that game was the fact that you had really heavy wind blowing out to dead center. So you had about 10 to 15 mile per hour winds to dead center. It was about 80 degrees. Anytime you can get like a warm night with wind blowing out and then the market kind of backing you up, like for that total, Angels and A's, it opened at 10. It got juiced up 10 over minus 120. It even got to 10.5. You combine the fact that both these teams have two of the worst bullpens in baseball. You had to sweat a little bit, but they poured on a lot of runs late. You're able to cash that over. So I would not disregard weather. To me, it's really important. It's really the extremes, Patrick and Dustin. Like, 10 or more is where you start. Obviously, there are some domes and closed roof stadiums, but if it's warm, the wind's blowing out, to me, that's something you got to at least factor in if you like playing totals. And if you want a go-to source, to me, the best one around is Roto Grinders. If you just search Roto Grinders MLB, Kevin Roth, he's pretty popular on Twitter. He's a great follow on Twitter, but they do a great job of giving you every game, the temperature, the wind speed, like literally every hour. So if you want to isolate just like a first five or a full game, and then he gives you these color coded, like, red, like Red Sox game tonight was red because it's raining. It got rained out, but yellow is like kind of a caution. Green is, a lot of offense here. So that's just a resource. If you're betting baseball daily, you're going to get, when there's a slate, I know it's a smaller than usual slate today. I think there's only 9 games, but when you're getting 12, 15 games a night, there's probably going to be at least one game where it's going to be, wind blowing out, bad bullpen, stuff like that. If you can tack that on and attack it early, like get a 10 before it goes to 10.5, you can make some money in baseball. So pay attention to the wind and use that Roto Grinders website. I think it's really the best for looking at weather and sport and any sports.
Hand up. I never check the weather. That includes where I live, but also for my bets. I had 3 bets on that Red Sox Orioles game today that got rained out. I was like, oh, that game must be underway. Let me check it out. Nope, rained out. So I have to wait for Rob Refsnyder to hit a home run tomorrow at plus 750 for me. But it's a good tip, Josh, because I'm horrible about checking the weather. So it reminds me to do that because I got burned by it today where I was really bitter. I see in your notes you want to talk about not buying picks. I'm assuming you're not talking about the ones that I used to buy on OnlyFans, allegedly.
Well, Dustin, in your free time outside of your 9 to 5, I mean, you can do whatever you want. I will not judge, but not buying picks. I just think this is something, probably everyone, or not everyone. I think it's actually something that people really don't know about, but I see it a lot on Twitter. People trying to sell picks, and I totally get it. If it seems like someone's really successful, why not just tail their plays and make money? But I would caution people not to buy plays. Number one, it's hard to get the triggering number that people send out. So let's even say there is a successful capper out there, and there's actually a lot of fakes and scammy cappers, quote unquote. It's really difficult to find people who are even legit. They'll tell you they have these incredible, Vegas Dave and people like this will tell you what ridiculous records they have. But the other thing is just from the standpoint of you have to pay for them. So once you pay whatever picks package, like, I don't know, $100 for a month, you're already in the whole $100. You need to win at an even higher rate. You have to overcome the juice every play, and then you got to overcome the money you spent on the plays. So even if you find a capper who's really good, it's going to be hard to overcome the hole that you've dug to start with. But then the other angle is getting the right number. Like money line, it's a little different in baseball. Like if the picks person who's selling says my play is minus 120, you look it up, it's minus 130. If the play wins, you both win. So it's not that big a deal, but you see it a lot in football where maybe some picks person will say, I got, the Raiders minus 2.5. You're at work, you get home. Now they're at 3 or 3.5. They win by 3. The picks person can claim that as a win. You lose because you're late to the party or you push. So I just think it's something that kind of goes without saying if you're in the gambling world, but I see so many new people breaking into betting and they think, hey, if someone's good and they're winning, let me just tail them and make money. I would caution against it. And instead of using that money to pay for someone's plays, try to bet on yourself. Try to like, if I'm going to lose, guys, I want to lose a bet that I spent the day breaking down. I don't want to lose a bet just because I'm tailing someone else and doing what they told me. So what do you guys think? Had you ever bought plays when you were, new in the game, or did you kind of always feel skeptical toward them?
Well, I can give you a fun anecdote, and this is not being negative because this guy's a legend, and he was talking back in '94 on national radio about sports betting, and I used to listen to him driving around in Michigan. But Scott Farrell, Scotty, He and I, for like 10 years, did a show in adjacent studios. So I would always go in there and talk to him about sports, and he's a huge hockey guy. And he would just be sitting there with a piece of paper, and he would just be writing down his picks. And he was working for the Howard Stern channel on Sirius XM at the time. And there were no rules, as you can imagine. So Pharrell, who's just like, who do you like tonight? And I was just like, I don't know, Red Wings. And he's like, he writes it down. And then nobody like told him what to do. So Scott would just go on his national radio show and give out picks. 2 days later, he started up Pharrell's pick service, and then all the people listening,
That's brilliant.
He'd give out one pick, and he'd be like, if you want to get the rest of them, you got to go buy them. And he made a fortune. And I'm not saying Scott lost. So let me just, I'm not saying he won either, because I like Scott. So that is not my point. But it just gives you an idea oftentimes where the sold picks are coming from. I would literally watch him in there with a napkin, watch him write down what he was selling, and then throw him up on him because you trust the voice and you trust the name. So there's a cautionary tale, and maybe Scott won $1 billion. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never bought picks, Josh, but that's purely ego. I want to have the credit for doing it myself, and I don't want to have to be reliant on someone else. And for me, like, that's the fun in the betting for me, is like beating the number, beating the book, like having the victory. So to go just buy someone else's picks, that feels like it defeats the whole purpose of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you in that. And also, if you want to check it out or Google it, there's a great Sports Illustrated article. Rick Riley wrote it. I believe it was in like maybe the 90s, all about scamdy cappers. And that's kind of the quote that he came up with. But there's also this notorious way that sometimes they'll operate. Basically, they'll have a list of all the people who have bought their plays. So let's say it's a list of, 100 people. Red Sox are playing the Yankees. That scamdy capper will send the Red Sox as an official bet to the first 50 people, and then the Yankees as an official bet to the next 50 people. So no matter what happens, whoever wins, half of those picks people who have bought them are going to win. And then they just continue to boom, double siding, ensuring that you're making money. Again, the angle here is like, on the one hand, it's kind of amazing that we operate in an industry where, anyone can create a Twitter, anyone can put out their plays. There's a lot of freedom and like opportunity there. But also, it's like, if you want to be a lawyer, you got to pass the bar. You need to be accredited. Like, you can't just show up at a courthouse and defend someone. You don't have that, obviously, in sports betting. Like, there's no, passing the bar to be a pick seller or handicapper. Obviously, a lot of these people, too, like, think of it this way. Did Billy Walters need to sell his picks? Like, no, like, that was never a thought. Like, he just made money because he knew that he was good and didn't have to sell them. So, again, this is like a cautionary tale. You can do whatever you want. You might find a great person who's really good and helps you win. But my side of the coin is, hey, like, just don't waste your time there. You're more likely going to be disappointed than you are going to succeed.
All right, I'll admit to it. I was 14. Me and my boy Matt McNamara, we used to we used to work at this pizza joint, and we used to pool our money together. And there was a guy on local radio called the Iceman. The Iceman ruled. The Iceman, he had so much swag, and when he went on with Stoney and Wojo, the Iceman would just have so much confidence. And for a 14-year-old impressionable kid, I didn't even have a driver's license, but I was gambling. For a 14-year-old impressionable kid, he was just like, he was the man. So we pulled up our money together and we bought a subscription. I called in the Iceman. He gave me the Lions. McNamara called in the Iceman 10 minutes later. He gave him the Bears, and they were playing each other.
See? Terrible, man. Come on, Iceman.
Even at 14, we're like, something doesn't feel right. Before, man, hey, I'm going to be honest with you. At 47, that was 14. Now at 47, I still think I'd tail the Iceman.
What is the Iceman up to these days? That's what I need to know.
There's no chance he's alive. Iceman had a lot going on. I got to know him eventually. You don't want to
don't meet your heroes.
Stoney. He was literally Stoney. You've met him. He was literally Stoney's friend. But he was being presented as a Vegas wise guy. And so for us, we were just like, dude, the Iceman rules. Guys were dating chicks. All we wanted to do was meet the Iceman. All right. before we say goodbye, speaking of dating chicks, eventually you hope to get married. And the big guy on his way, hopefully, God willing. But eventually you have a bachelor's party. Now, there's only going to be 2 guys showing up to the bachelor party for Dustin. And I'm one of them. So it's going to be a hell of a party. It's going to be a hell of a party. But, Josh, you've got a party coming up. Let's discuss.
Yeah, so I just want to throw it out to you guys. So number one, the importance of having a fun bachelor party. And I think you want to kind of, like, I've been to good ones, I've been to bad ones. My personal bachelor party from 2 years ago, we went to a Red Sox game. We got a suite at the Encore in Boston. Again, spent the whole night gambling. It was amazing. I think that kind of fit the personality of who I am and, you know, what's important to me. So where I'm going this weekend is to Cavendish, Vermont, place probably no one's ever heard of, middle of nowhere. Getting a house in the woods, cabin. Unfortunately, it's going to rain the whole time. It'd be like 50 degrees, but it's going to be a great time because I'm going to be with all my best friends that I grew up with. Patrick, I mentioned to you off air, my buddy Lars. Congrats, Lars. He's actually going on to his second marriage. He got married at 24 from a high school sweetheart. Didn't work out. No one, obviously, I probably could have told you that at the time, but getting remarried at 39, so yada, yada. But I want to throw it out to you guys. What was the best bachelor party you've ever been to? And what, more importantly, what made it such a great time? What was the worst bachelor party you've ever been to and what made it a bad time? And any tips, things that are important? Like, I can tell you, like, my phone is blowing up because it's all like, who's bringing the hot dogs? Who's got the buns? You got ketchup? Who's bringing the Trulies? Da, da, da. It's like, this text thread is like, we're only going to be there for 2 days. And it's like, we're moving, you know, forever. So that part is kind of annoying, but I'm looking forward to it. But what do you guys think? Are you yay or nay the bachelor party weekend?
First off, a bachelor party in the woods of Vermont, there's definitely going to be ayahuasca.
Oh, there's drugs. That's the first thing I thought.
Mushrooms, drugs. And plus it's all legal now. It doesn't matter.
Over under 10 dilated pupils on this trip.
Oh man, Josh, it's probably over.
We got a goal, Florida. They're up 2-0.
Oh my god.
All right. So here, I'll make this quick because we're running out of time. My bachelor parties growing up in Michigan were VFW halls, where the original strippers that were brought in they cost a little bit more, and they would just like make things disappear. Then there was some chips and dip and a couple of more cocktails, and then around 1 a.m. the reinforcement strippers came in, and for some reason they went to the back room and never came out, and there was a line of guys waiting to go talk to them. Now
they were helping them sew buttons back on their jeans, is what they were doing.
Apparently there was a lot, maybe geopolitics being discussed. I don't know what was happening in the bathroom at the VFW, but the guys seemed excited about it. I never went because just not my thing. But that was my experience for bachelor parties. And then I went to one bachelor. My brother-in-law had a bachelor party, and this ended up being the greatest one. It sounds like Lars, where we went camping, we went canoeing, we had a keg, we did all of the stuff that dudes do. And I must tell you, it was a wonderful experience. So I just believe in that type of party.
Yeah, Patrick, that first one, it sounds like you weren't in Paris, but there were Eiffel Towers involved in that party.
And by the way, these girls were very efficient.
The
guys were there for like 30 seconds is what I'm saying.
I've only been to a few. Ocean City, Maryland, Beach Bar Secrets. It's like the biggest bar in America. It was a great time just drinking out in the sun on the beach, different like bands playing for whatever vibe you're into. They had it there. House music, country music, rock, whatever. Love that. I also am anti-strip club for bachelor parties. I know that's going to be a bit of a shock. I'd rather be at a strip club on noon on a Tuesday than be at a strip club, mainly because usually someone from the in-laws side of the wedding is at the bachelor party, and then it's awkward for everyone, and that's also when mistakes happen, let's be fair. To me, the best idea I ever heard for a bachelor party was similar to you, Josh, go to a game, but get a luxury box. Get one of the suites. Everyone chip in and rent it, and you just like drink and you eat and you have a good time at the game that way. So it's like you have your own personal bar.
Yeah,
and let me throw one more at you, Patrick and Dustin.
Yep.
There's a website, Fansided or Fans Idea, where you can get jerseys, and they only cost like $25. They're made in China. They're probably tariff now and way more now, but you get all your boys the same looking jersey, and then you can put your name on the back, the number you want. Mine said Bombers Boys because they call me Bomber, and it had our names, number. And we all wore it. We got in the Jumbotron. This is like, the equivalent of the girls with like the bridesmaid sash across the front, but underrated jerseys. They're pretty baller, not gonna lie.
The only thing I would say the difference between bachelor and bachelorette parties, there's actually more penises at bachelorette parties. Inflatable penises, ice penises,
penis straws,
balloon penises, penis straws. And I'll be fair, the girls in bachelorette parties they have less morals than men.
Oh, they're
I've seen
freakier.
it.
No. Because they don't let
all women cheat.
It's the one opportunity to let it out. That's what it is. It's the one chance that there's no judgment.
The only time you realize that every girl on the planet cheats is when you see a bachelorette party.
Yeah.
Hey, is that a Chippendale?
Go to Nashville, walk down the strip in Vegas, run into a bachelor party, and find out what they're open to that night. I'll tell you that.
What does this world come to? Am I the only person with morals? Am I the only? I ask you. Am I the only person with morals? Don't answer.
To be honest, I hate that we're almost out of time because I need to know the genesis of why Josh is nicknamed Bomber.
Yeah, we'll get that next week. Josh Applebaum, VSiN betting analyst. All Systems Go is the podcast, the book, NFL Sharp Betting Playbook, How to Analyze the Market, Go Contrarian, and Bet Like a Data-Driven Wise Guy. That's available on Amazon now. J.A., great job. We'll talk to you next week.
Appreciate you guys. Good luck, and I'll see you next week.
Okay, don't be careful at that bachelor party. Don't go to a VFW. When we come back, we got your calls, and we'll get our bets in. Game hasn't tipped yet in Oklahoma City. It's VSiN Live.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, they refused to play basketball in Oklahoma City. The game hasn't tipped. You still have time. It's the Thunder laying 8, 217.5 on the total. I went over the 216 earlier today, so it has risen even more. What do you got here, big guy?
Yeah, I got a lot. Look, we were pretty strong on Minnesota in game one. I still believe in everything we said. They were up at the half, and I think they're going to adjust here. I also think watching SGA and him get to the free throw line, and then that became a story after the game in game one. I do think the whistle could be different for him and the Thunder here in game two. There could be some adjustments. I also expect Edwards to get to the rack a lot. I went back and looked. Last 2 seasons, after a playoff loss, he's averaging over 40.5 points, rebounds, and assists combined. I'm going to back a guy who I don't believe is the face of the NBA coming up. I'm going to go over 37.5 PRA, points, rebounds, and assists combined for him. And I got a bunch of other plays. They're all available, VSiN.com/picks.
Yeah, you can check out the big guys plays, VSiN.com/picks. I do like that first prop you gave out. May I ask you, did we mention plus money on Florida was ridiculous? Because they're up 3-0.
Dude.
It's the first period.
Carolina stinks. I don't know a lot about hockey. I know enough through osmosis of hearing you, Samich, and Halterman talk about it on our show to know that Carolina is a good little team. They are not on the same level offensively as Florida. Florida, while Hurricanes are supposed to have an edge and goal with Anderson, Bobrovsky's a guy who's won a cup before. He's not scared of the moment. He's not going to be scared on the road. They're up 3-0. We could have gotten, plus 270, I said, if you laid a puck and a half. That was the way to go. They're up 3-0. They're not going to look back.
They're up 3-0 with 4 minutes to play in the first. Carolina's like you said, nice little team. Florida is a great hockey team. Let's go LA here, VSiN Live, and say hi to our buddy Twizzy. Twiz, what up?
Oh.
Man, what's up, fellas? What's going on with you guys?
What's happening?
Hey, look, a couple things real quick, man. Patrick, I've been talking to you and listening to you for a long time. I know the big guy said you guys been together for like 10 years, but I was listening to you way back when Sean was your producer. So, I pretty much know how you think. And,
you go way back with Kilby.
Yeah. So, being a black man, 2 of my great joys in life are calling out sexual offenders and racists. And I've done that plenty of times on this, on your show, on Dog Show, and never once have I thought of you to be racist. So let's just clear the air with that, because we can't have any of that or any remnants of that whatsoever with my boy Patrick.
How could I be a racist? You're literally my friend. You're a black guy.
I don't think you're supposed to say that.
Well, he is a black guy. He's the best. That's my friend. He's Twizzy. We hung out.
but look, on as far as the sports is concerned, man, look, I don't mind Reggie Miller on the call. In fact, I actually like it because it's the Knicks. And I know it just happened by osmosis, but just to bring back that nostalgia and everything else, because they're going to kill you over the head with the Reggie and the Indiana stuff. So we might as well be there, just like all the other Knicks on the sideline. If we're going to shout them out, might as well have him there too, right? And as far as the game last night, what I saw was this, and I haven't heard too many people say this. I saw them making those same shots, that the open shots that they had were the same open shots Boston Celtics had, except for the Boston Celtics missed those shots. That's the difference. So I'm sorry for all the Knicks fans and anybody who's rooting for that team. If they're going to continue to give it, because every team isn't going to miss the shots the way that Boston missed. If you're going to give up those shots, you're going to lose. You're going to lose bad.
Do you think the Knicks can win this series, Twiz?
Like not with that defense. No, no. Because Dog always says this, and it's a great point. It's like you have to win 5 games because that was a game, that was a win. There's no way you should have lost that game. That was in your pocket, as the big guy likes to say. Had it in his pocket.
In pocket. Twizzy is the best. You are the best listener ever. And look, if I am a white guy, Twizzy's a black guy. That's just the way it is. How come I can't say that?
I'm trying to be delicate here, but if we're gonna talk about that, I think you look like a white guy, and I mean this in as a compliment. you're closer to the other side than you are to being a white guy. And I mean, that's like the nicest thing I can say about a person.
Twizzy's the best. Well, the two people that I literally talked to from the show, Kevin and Twizzy, both brothers.
All right, now you're counting your black friends. It's not a great look for you defending
I have
yourself.
them in Michigan too. That dude, even Naya said it, and Ryan said it. Ryan's a brother too. They said he wanted me to invite him to call me racist. You heard it, big guy.
Yeah, but the problem was the argument was weak. It was, why are you complaining about Brunson flopping when you love Luka? If you asked us about Luka flopping, we would give an answer. Don't love it. Okay? So point dead.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Do I have a dog named Jeezy? Is Jeezy a rapper from Atlanta?
It's true.
Thank you.
But
my street cred is ridiculous.
Not to go against you here though, but what color fur does Jeezy have?
Oh, she's the whitest thing ever. And that is the dichotomy of me. We're coming back with your calls. VSiN Live.
Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, I can confirm, big guy, what Naya said earlier. The reason Tyrese Halliburton, I just logged on to Twitter, the reason Tyrese Halliburton is hated, he is extra zesty.
No, he's zesty, I'm telling you.
And to add to the theme of today's show, married to a white woman.
Oh, is he?
And he makes dancing videos with Shorty. Zesty.
Okay. But I don't understand why that bothers people. Because I'm sure those people go
to... Of course, because you're a normal human being, and so am I. Like, why would it bother anybody what people do?
Because those people who criticize someone like Tyrese Halliburton go to their homes, and they do weird stuff too. They just don't put it out there. At least Tyrese Halliburton's comfortable enough with himself to say, I'm cool to do these dancing videos with my girlfriend.
It's just so funny. Like, there's even like people on major networks right now arguing about the race of one's significant other. It's like people are so stupid. I can't even fathom.
Oh yeah.
I can't even fathom how people have time. People need to get into charity, spend their time differently. Because if you're sitting there worried about the race of another person's wife or husband, you've got something mentally wrong with you.
Look,
mentally, something's off.
You know what? And for years, people told me my narcissism meant there was something mentally wrong with me. I would tell you this is where my narcissism is the biggest hack in life. I couldn't care less what goes on in everyone else's lives around me. I only care about me, and that actually does me good in this spot.
Or are you just a decent human being that doesn't judge others for love? Hello? Like... Yeah, leave it to you to turn it into I'm a narcissist, so I don't care if people marry a white chick. You're a good guy.
I just mean I don't have opinions in other people's lives and what they choose to do with them. As long as it doesn't.
How would it be possible? How would it be possible, Dustin, to even think about who another person would marry, what the color of their skin is? How is that a possibility on the planet?
And also for two football players who do media now to use it in their argument about something going on is wild. It's wild.
Because they're idiots. There's no other answer.
Dude, it's an unfortunate thing I'm finding out at 40 where like a lot of my friends are getting married and they're having kids and stuff. And I'm finding out that there's the people who were idiots 15 years ago are still idiots as they get older. Like it doesn't change. Like I thought adults you be around adults that have answers and are normal. No, I'm finding out the same stupid people still do stupid things. They just have more things going on now.
Of course. I'm still an idiot at 47. I'm just not a racist. That's pretty simple.
No, it's confirmed. Award-winning anti-racist host.
Thank you. Got the trophy to prove it. Let's go to Nashville and say hi to Adam. Adam yesterday was not happy with our Oklahoma City take. Hi, Adam.
No, that's why I'm calling, dude. I think it's incredible. Y'all said God was a Knicks fan, and look what he did. He proved that he is number one real. He proved that he is not a Knicks fan. He made the Pacers legendary last night, and like it looked like the sixth man with Marlon Wayland. The way he just stepped back, threw it up, it's ugly as hell, and just bounces and falls straight in. Like the Knicks deserve it, man. They're gonna get swept. They deserve everything they're fixing to get. It's awful.
Confirmed. God is a Pacer fan.
I love how Adam's twisting me saying that the Pope.
No, he's getting mad.
No, because it's so idiot. I said the Pope went to Villanova. There's 3 Villanova players on the Knicks. He has a direct line to God. I'm saying God's a Knicks fan. I didn't say that. I said God was going to collude with the Pope so that the Knicks win.
One thing is confirmed once you moved over from the producer to the co-host chair. Callers trigger you big time.
Because they don't listen to the exact words. That's my problem. And he thinks he comes in, he dials the number, and he freaking nailed it. But he's twisting my words around. I never said God was a Knicks fan. I think the last 25 years prove God is not a Knicks fan.
Don't you think it's a tad goofy? You're arguing about who God's a fan of?
Well, I don't want to talk about what race my girlfriend is because you said we can't do that.
You can do it.
No, I'm joking.
The whole point of the show is we're wide open in this place.
This goes with what you're
Our
doing
next
right
guest
now.
is married to, I think his girlfriend's from Mexico.
Yes. But my point is, I was doing shtick about the Pope, and Adam took it very serious about me saying God's a Knicks fan.
I know. But these callers, they trigger you, bro.
They're really annoying, but keep calling in.
They pay your bills.
Yeah, no, I don't mind being triggered. My blood pressure, by the way, lowest it's ever been until that phone call happened.
Well, I think the only thing we learned is Dustin did not say God was a Knicks fan, but confirmed he is a Pacers fan with that ball that went up into the into the sky and came down to the hoop. You know what I'm saying? But it was a great game. Can we all just admit that?
No.
Even Dustin can admit. Down 0-1, still a tremendous basketball game. Confirmed?
I didn't enjoy a second of it. I can't say that.
We'll see if VSiN host Jonathan Von Tobel, an NBA insider, thinks last night was tremendous at MSG. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
All right, if you sign up for the VSiN Daily newsletter, you'll hear all about Dustin Swedelson and Jonathan Von Tobel. And you can sign up. There's no obligation right now. Go to vsin.com/subscribe, /newsletter. And the reason you'll hear about Jonathan and Dustin is because Bill A.D., those are his two favorites at VSiN, and he always includes them. And I'm hoping one day to be included next to them. Go to vsin.com/newsletter. It's a great newsletter. Free picks in there often. Set up the sports betting menu for the day. Dustin Swedelson, Jonathan Von Tobel, of course, VSiN host, senior NBA insider. You can catch Jonathan on Money Moves, Monday through Friday, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. He's at MeJVT on Twitter. And just a little behind the scenes, he did. He asked Dustin if he wanted to, and well, listen. Let's put it this way: if Dustin's girlfriend was in town and said, "Do you want to hang out tonight?" He said, "Sure." But Jonathan said, "Do you want to hang out tomorrow?" And Dustin said, "I got laundry to do. I got to put some stuff in order." Is literally what he said. That is true.
I've been gone for basically 2 straight weeks. I'm finally back for a few days. I leave again on Tuesday. I have to get my life in order. I have a lot to do. However, I thought about the answer after it came out of my mouth. I have not seen JVT in person in a while. I should do something with him. We should go to dinner or something.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to say yes. I figured I'd ask. I figured I knew what the answer was going to be anyway, too. So it was one of those where I was like, look, I guess free time, might as well ask my buddy. But I was prepared for what the answer would really be. You're essentially married, and that's what happens when you're in a new relationship.
Yeah, but she doesn't live here. I'm not doing anything with her. But see, Patrick and I are a deceptive combination because people assume because Patrick isn't social that I'm a little bit social, that I'm very social. I'm just more social compared to Patrick. So people assume like I like to get out and do stuff and I'm outgoing. I'm really not that outgoing.
Well, I think so. I think I might have like a reputation, not for like a party person, but for being a very sociable person.
You are.
At VSiN. I've been told that, I have gone out quite a bit. Like I try to make friends, like we're all colleagues, I try to hang out with the motley crew that is with us. So I think I'm viewed as somewhat more of a go-getter than usual. Like Dustin, for example, told me, he's like, well, I don't want to go to the chaotic downtown. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be down there. Like, we don't have to do that. We can just go get food or something like that and just catch up because we're boys, you know what I mean? But the assumption was that I guess I just wanted to go ham in like East Fremont, like that.
Well, in fairness, the first few times you and I hung out, it was like late nights downtown, drinking well into the morning.
The three of us hung out and had a great time. We had a great time. I would love to do it again. I don't get to see you guys. So when I heard you rebuff his advance, I got sad for friendship.
Now, he also loves to hate on my New York Knicks. And if they go down 0-2, I don't know if I can handle hanging out with him at the end of that game tomorrow.
Well,
so
let's do this.
That was also where I wanted to go, yeah.
And it'd be hilarious if you guys watch the game together. Let's put that off over here. Let's first start with the game that's on. Is there anything you expect? I think the Thunder are up early. Let me get you guys an exact score. 23-18, so 2:38 to play in the first. Your take coming into this game, too.
Well, the Timberwolves had to play better offensively, and that has not happened so far. Now, they are taking more shots at the rim. That's a good thing. They only took 12 shots within 4 feet of the basket in game 1. They have 7 so far already, according to Cleaning the Glass. So, that's good, right? You're pressuring the rim, you're trying to get within 4 feet. The problem is they have only hit 1 of those 7 shots. So, Oklahoma City is still doing a tremendous job of keeping them from having success at the rim. But I think the light at the end of the tunnel potentially is so far they have grabbed 43.8%, or I think 3 of their missed shot attempts, right? So they're getting offensive rebounds, they're getting to the rim. One would hope that the 3-point shots start to fall. They already are early on. That's what's keeping Minnesota in this thing. They're about 4 of 9 from deep. So if you can start getting some of those shots to fall within 4 feet of the basket, I think they're going to be okay, because OKC still cannot hit water falling out of a boat. They have started pretty poor from 3, and they're shooting 32% from 3 coming in. So I think the rim pressure is the big deal here. If you can start to get shots to fall in the restricted area, you're going to be in a good spot if you're Minnesota.
Speaking of big deals, a big deal was made out of SGA getting to the free throw line by a lot of people following game 1, where if you looked at the numbers, JVT, he's not getting to the free throw line at a historic rate. He does a lot of work there. What did you think of all the complaining about that? And do you think there's adjustments coming in the series because of it?
I think much like everything in life, society, that there's some truth in the middle, right? Not everything's black and white. I think you can quibble.
By the way, on this show, before you got here, there was a lot of discussions about black and white.
Oh, okay, there you go. I like it. Yeah, by the way, side note, my wife was born in California, Patrick. So
I botched it. Her family's from Mexico.
Yes, she is of Mexican descent, but she's an American. And in today's day and age, I would like to explicitly state she's American, okay?
My bad. My bad. Didn't want to get into deportation or tariffs. I just was saying.
In fact, her last name does have a dash von Tobel in it, so let's not go down that territory. All right. So anyway, what was I don't even remember the question was
about the free throw narrative on SGA.
Yeah. We went. That's the span. Look at this. Look at that. We cover so much from
show.
free throws to race. All right. So yes, I think there's some nuance, right? can you point to like 3 or 4 fouls and be like, dude, that's stupid? Like, yeah, I think you can totally do it. But like I told Gil and Kelly this morning, okay, cool. I'm gonna do some magic here. I'm gonna remove every free throw from the game in game 1 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You know what still happens? The Thunder still win that game. Like, you know what I mean? I think, to me, what the biggest issue with officiating is, and what people should be complaining about, and I tweeted this out yesterday, they were letting these dudes play rugby for 2 straight rounds. They were playing tackle football out there. They were getting physical. They were getting dirty. There was so much that they were letting go. And then the first 2 rounds of these conference finals were right back to regular season officiating. That, to me, is ridiculous. You've let these guys get accustomed to physical playoff basketball, and then in 2 rounds of the conference finals, all of a sudden we're back to ticky-tack nonsense, and they just don't know how to adjust. I think you can make the argument the increase in physicality that they have allowed has also led to some of these injuries that we have seen. But, like, you've just got to be consistent. That, to me, is the biggest issue. You know, Shai, we're always going to make fun of these guys, right? We're always going to be unhappy as fans of the sport. But I don't think what he does is, like, out of this world. I'm more upset with the way that they've been officiating these games in the first 2 games of the conference finals.
Has Ant done anything differently so far? I haven't been able to pay much attention, but I thought he was awful in game 1.
He was. I mean, he was really passive, right? Like, that was the weird part.
Yeah.
Going back to the whole thing about pressuring the rim more, he took 1 shot attempt in the restricted area in game 1. Like, for a guy that explosive,
crazy.
That's insanity. Like, you can't do that. You have to be more aggressive. You've got to be more willing to press the issue. He's looked a little bit more aggressive here. Even when you're not getting shots at the rim, like, as the fact that you're challenging them, right? The fact that you're trying to drive and then you get kicked out to open shooters, like McDaniels did have a couple open threes in the corner. He hit one of them. Like, that is going to open up the floor so much for your team. So as long as he's more aggressive, I think so. But to your point, I think the 13 shot attempts in that game was like one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in a playoff game for him. That just can't happen, man. You're the best player on your team. I think Julius Randle's been great. Going into that game, they were 30-6 in the last 36 games that Randle had played. He can't be the guy. Like Anthony Edwards has to be the guy. And I was amazed about how passive he was in that first game.
I know it's cool to hate on Rudy Gobert, but I was a little bit surprised that Finch opted to pull him off the floor in game 1 so quickly and then try to play OKC style instead of dictating their own style that they want to play, just because I think he's so important to what they want to do defensively. I know he's not really involved in the offense. What did you make of Finch doing that, where he said, you know what, we can't play this style with Gobert out there. Let's run with Oklahoma City? Because to me, it felt like that's when the game got away from them, JVT.
Yeah, but I also think his hand was forced a little bit, Dustin. So remember, he picks up 2 fouls, Gobert, early. So then he doesn't play a vast majority of the first quarter. Then, of course, as the time, by the time you get in your regular rotation back, like in that third quarter especially, they blitzed him. And so you kind of got forced out of what you wanted to do there. And so then when you're in comeback mode, you're trying to generate offense. And I think you'd rather put like 5 shooters out there. Because remember, too, at that point, like we talked about, like they were getting nothing within 4 feet. They were just hitting jump shots. And Finch, I think, just kind of was like, look, I need 5 guys that can space the floor to try to open this thing up. And I think that really kind of worked against him. So, like, to your point, today, I'm on over 14.5 points and rebounds for Rudy Gobert here. He's already got 5 rebounds so far. He's off the floor right now because we're at the tail end of the first quarter. But I think he is going to be able to play here today. One of the misnomers, and it's one of the conversations I hate having a ton, Rudy Gobert's minutes go up in the postseason. They do not go down. Everybody remembers one playoff series in which the Clippers obliterated the Jazz. And, like, sorry, folks, like, yeah, I think that when you have Royce O'Neal and Donovan Mitchell as primary perimeter defenders and you're playing a 5-out offense, like, it's going to be tough. And Rudy Gobert can't put out every single fire. So I do think that in that regard, it's a little unfair to put everything on him. So I think that the market freaked out a little bit here. So to your point, like, I would agree. I think we're going to get more Rudy Gobert today. And as I mentioned, he's already got 5 rebounds here in the first quarter, and I'm on over 14.5 points and rebounds.
And Ant did attack the bucket while you were talking, got a basket. It's 29-25. Oklahoma City leads. They're going to hold on to the ball for the last shot here in the first, which is going to be a 3-point attempt, and that's going to be off. So we're going to go to the second with Oklahoma City up 29-25 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Game 2, Western Conference Finals. Jonathan Von Tobel, VSiN senior analyst, of course, host of Money Moves along with Stormy, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern at MeJVT on Twitter. So you also hate fighting with people about the sport, about the NBA's issues, and we can officially say there were no issues last night. I was at a bar that didn't care about sports, and everybody was transfixed on the Pacers Knicks. It was just theater. Regardless of Dustin being a Knicks fan and anything, like if sports move you, that was an opportunity to be moved because that was awesome last night.
So I'm glad. I don't know where Dustin watched it. So I think I told. I don't know if I said this on the whatever. I was at a bar yesterday too, and that was like one of those. I like those moments where like the bar is in on like the main thing, right?
Yes.
And like last night, the main thing was Pacers Knicks, and it's funny because like I was there for the start of the game all the way through the entire game, and in the first 3 quarters, Patrick, I don't know where it was like with you, obviously, but like nobody's really reacting to the game. Like I'm watching it, I can't really tell how many people, but by the time the fourth quarter comes around, there's a Knickies fan with a Yankee hat at the bar, getting louder and louder, like progressively louder as the game's going on. As the game's getting tighter, like people that I didn't even think were there to watch sports were like oohing and eyeing, and like you could really feel the bar kind of getting into it a little bit more. And by the end of regulation, I'm sitting there like, what the hell? Like I didn't really have anything in it. I have over 5.5 games in the series. Like, so it doesn't really matter the first game what happens. That was insanity. And I feel so conflicted because, as Dustin knows, if New York has no haters, I am dead, right? I am no longer on this planet, okay? I think New York is annoying. I think the people are annoying. I mean it wholeheartedly. I'm sorry to the one Twitter audience, man, who tweeted me today and said, your hate for New York is going to lose you a fan because I actually enjoyed you on the air. I apologize.
All right,
I apologize, right? I love being a hater of New York. But I was conflicted last night because what I also am a fan of is like logic and following probability. What the Pacers have done, not only last night, but in this postseason, is so ridiculous, is so beyond like the scope of probability that I don't know how I'm supposed to feel, because every time I watch these Pacers come back, I'm like, they're not supposed to be able to do this, but then they were doing it against the Knicks, and I was like, go ahead, keep doing it. This is great. Yesterday was ridiculous. It had so much.
Can I just follow up, Dustin, and I'll let you go? Because I told Dustin this earlier, Jonathan. It was one of those moments where, like, I was at my brother-in-law was performing in a band. The band doesn't like sports. Nobody, like, the bar wasn't even sports people. With 2.5 minutes left in that game, the band stopped playing. Everybody was watching the game, and then the break between regular and overtime, the band played again, and then stopped for overtime. That was a moment. Sorry, Go ahead, big guy.
Yeah, okay. JVT, you alluded to it. So Game 5 versus Milwaukee, Indiana's down 7, 34.7 left. Game 2 against Cleveland, down 7 with 46.7 left. And then last night, down 9 to the Knicks at MSG with 52.5 seconds left. What did you think of the way, one, the Pacers handled that final 52.5 seconds, and then secondly, how the Knicks handled it?
Well, I thought the Pacers handled it really well. Like they look like a team that knows what they want to do almost every step of the way. And by the way, I think that speaks to a pretty solid coaching edge for them too. Carlisle, I think, coached circles around Thibodeau yesterday, down to even the challenges. Like, he was brilliant with the challenges. He hit both of them late. They were very important challenges as well that ended up being key and pivotal. Those are both the same thing, to them winning the game, right? So, like, that was tremendous, and I thought Carlisle was great. On the flip side, dude, I thought your team melted down, like complete and utter meltdown. You know, do you watch the do you guys see the TNT, like it's the alternate feed, it's like the overtime or whatever it is? So it gives you during commercial breaks, things like that, like shots of the bench. There was one that was up there on social media. It was like OG Anunoby just sniping at Cat after I think they'd given up a layup or something like that. And they were just going after each other, and like Brunson had to get involved. That team completely melted down. I think Brunson deserves a ton of criticism. I thought he played like ass at the end of that game.
He was horrible.
He was terrible. He was charging headfirst into defenders. He dribbled into 2 double teams and got caught up. It was one in the backcourt, one in the front court. I don't know what he was doing at times. He was still hunting for fouls in clutch time, both at the end of the regulation and of the fourth quarter. I thought that was a complete team effort in terms of melting down. But here's the thing. When you come back like that, things also have to go right for you. We should not also forget that the officials completely missed a clear and obvious goaltend that would have been very pivotal in winning that game for the New York Knicks. But when you're running hot like the Indiana Pacers, guess what happens? Officials miss a goaltend and you come back. Like this is just such a run. But I thought both teams, like you could point to so many things, Dustin. Like when you have comebacks like that, so many things have to happen. And I think that's exactly what happened last night.
I want to ask you about Halliburton. It's not even the shot that goes up and goes down. it was the assist to, you guys help me, maybe it was Nemhart, where he had just hit a three and then he drew the defenders. And Halliburton's assist, I was telling Dustin this earlier, Jonathan, it's like not all assists are created equally, and he gets his teammates easy buckets. And I thought, like, as they were going downhill late, I just thought Halliburton was awesome in that game.
Dude, he's fantastic. He's such a good passer. And the way that he can make passes, too. Like, it almost got kind of annoying. Like, I went, like, old white guy for a second because, like, there was a couple of possessions down the stretch where he's, like, hitting guys in the corner with, like, no-look passes. And I'm like, youngster, you should be looking at the guy you're throwing the ball to. But, like, he's so good. You know what I mean? And like you said, like, he puts it, there's, to your point about, like, it's like in football, when you throw a guy open. He's not like hitting them down by their hip or doing anything like that. He's hitting them right in the pockets. They can go straight up with it. He's so accurate with wherever he's throwing it to. He's great. And then what they do with him is great too. Zach Lowe mentioned this when he was analyzing the game, but there was a great moment where they come down the stretch in the fourth quarter and all of a sudden, bam, it's like a guard pick and roll. It's Tyrese Halliburton, Ben Shepherd. He hits Shepherd, who slips the screen. And then Shepherd's like, oh, cool. There's Aaron Nesmith wide open in the corner. And then let's hit him for like his billionth three of the night. Like, they're so good. They're so well coached. And it starts with Halliburton on the floor, man. He's been brilliant.
Yeah, look, we've talked a lot about the Knicks' mental toughness, JVT. A lot of people have made a lot about it. Obviously, the comebacks against Boston, the way they were able to find a way to beat Detroit despite really being outplayed a lot of that series as well. But to me, it feels like this is a role reversal. They're used to punching up. They're used to being doubted in a lot of cases, coming off that Boston series especially. And in this spot, they've got Indiana punching up to them, and I think Indiana is actually the better team. Do you believe the Knicks, who are favored in game 2, numbers 5.5, they're laying it, so the market thinks that because they need it more, they should win and should cover. Do you believe they have the makeup to overcome what was a demoralizing loss in game 1?
Some would argue it's karmic justice after winning a series that maybe not the Pistons, the Celtics. You came back from down 20 twice in that series, right? You should have lost those games, and then now you get a little bit of a taste of your own medicine. But no, look, these are pros, and I generally will lean toward the side of I can't remember who I was listening to talk to today about this, but they were making the case like, I think they're mentally shot. This is over. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, that sucks to lose that game. It's a brutal loss. These guys are pros. I'm sure they've suffered brutal losses before. I think you just get back to work, and because here's the thing, Dustin. I heard you earlier. You were saying you didn't enjoy a single second of that game. That's a lie. You were enjoying it when they were up 17 and kicking their ass. You were enjoying it when it looked like they were running circles around them. And that is still there, right? Like, that is Jalen Brunson was in foul trouble, was riding the pine at the start of the fifth quarter, and he still had 30 points to start the fourth quarter, despite the fact that he wasn't playing, right? That mismatch is still there. So I think there's still plenty that they can do. They're still also a much better rebounding team than them. They pulled down a bunch of offensive rebounds. It's a reason why Obi Toppin has to play in this series, because they need him to at least match some of the rebounding ability. And by the way, Toppin had 10 boards yesterday. So I do think they're there, but I'll hit you with this number. Teams off of a straight-up loss in this postseason, 35-18-1 against the spread. So if you're just betting the straight-up loser in the next game, you are hitting at a 66% clip. I am getting my face kicked in because every time I'm like, this is stupid. And it's not just that, it's not just betting against the trend. It's what you mentioned. The Knicks are laying 5.5 tomorrow. They opened at 3.5 for game 1. They closed 4.5, and they lost the game outright. And the market's like, nah, we're going to make this a point higher because they lost game 1. And that's just something I can't come to grips with. But if you've been doing it, you're hitting 66% and you're cleaning up.
Well, I like the Pacers +6.
Me too.
I don't know about all that 66%. Who did you have before this? What did you have for a series prediction before?
My prediction was Knicks in 7. I did bet over 5.5 games was like the actual series bet, but I thought Knicks in 7. Like if anybody asked me what do you think's going to happen, I said Knicks in 7.
How do you see this playing out? So we've got a game tomorrow. I know you like the points, but maybe you think the Knicks, with your prediction, do pick up the win. And then how do you see this going to Indy?
I mean, so yeah, like I think this is going to be a tight game. I think they stay inside of it. To me, it's just these have not gone well, but as I've called them to play on principle, you should not be getting your market rating upgraded because you lost the game previously, right? Like it's absolutely ridiculous that that's the case. So I think that's what's going to happen. Look, I think that there's a couple of things that overall in this series I thought were going to go the Knicks' way, and I would also just say this, and I wrote about this in the pre-series preview up on the website. It ties back to what we were watching with this Pacers team right now. Everything with this run for the Pacers, it has something along the lines of since 1970 something, since 1990 something, teams were 955-0 before the Pacers. Teams were 1,414 before the Pacers. My whole point here is that there are so many improbabilities in terms of what they've been able to do to this point. That comes down to their shooting. Andrew Nembhard is shooting 50% from three. He was a 29% three-point shooter in the regular season. Aaron Nesmith is shooting nearly 55% from three in this postseason. He's a good three-point shooter, but that's insanity. You know what, Pascal Siakam? I would ask you, Pascal Siakam's career three-point percentage is 29% in the postseason. He's shooting 45% from three. Like, there's so many different things. Coming into this, if you looked at the shot quality metrics, like cleaning the glass has location effective field goal percentage, what would this team's effective field goal percentage be if they shot league average on those shots that they took up to that point? The actual effective field goal percentage for Indiana was 59.1%. It should be 53%. Right? Like, they're doing so many things that you would think cannot be sustainable. So, like, to answer your question, Patrick, my brain is telling me that at some point the rabbit's foot falls out of your ass and you just start playing like a normal basketball team, and the Knicks can get back into this thing and extend this series out. But postseasons are inherently small sample sizes. And would it really be shocking if Indiana just goes on a tear, hits insanely hot, gets to the NBA Finals, and who knows what happens from there? Because we saw one team do it just a few years ago, and that was the Miami Heat. They eventually got their ass kicked, but the Heat did that, and they did it all the way to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, and I think the key to doing that, JVT, is having a player on a heater, a player who is the best player on the floor in that moment, whether or not it is for big picture, for their career, for the season. But I do believe Tyrese Halliburton is on that kind of role right now. He's dominating in the postseason. He's hit 1 million of these clutch shots now. The fact that he had the balls to try and go for the kill shot and the three, and his foot was just slightly on the line.
Well, it helps. Can I cut you off really quickly? Yeah. What's your boy Mitchell Robinson doing? Bro, he's going for the win. He's stepping out, and Mitchell Robinson's like, oh, maybe I should go out there and contest this shot. What was he doing?
There were so many defensive breakdowns. The clip you were talking about with OG Anunoby and Towns was because Towns didn't know what defensive set they were running and let someone go right by him and assumed Anunoby would be there to help. And Anunoby was telling him, that's not what we're running right now, dummy. So they were just so off defensively. But on Halliburton, look, I'm on an island here. I think Anthony Edwards is highly overrated. You tell me, as someone who watches a lot of NBA, is there really that big of a gap between Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton as players?
I mean, I think it depends on what you like. I still think Anthony Edwards is a clearly better player than Tyrese Halliburton, but I wouldn't say he blows him out of the water. If we're doing the recess, pick your teams, I'm picking Anthony Edwards like 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, just because of the physical nature of how he plays basketball and the ability to play both ways, right? Like, that's the other part about this that we tend to forget. And Edwards can be a very good defensive player. But in terms of Tyrese Halliburton, there is something to be said of a guy that shows up when it matters. And that's kind of unquantifiable. It's one of the things that bothers me as somebody who likes, metrics and numbers and things like that. Some guys just know how to show up. Some guys keep cool under pressure. Some guys are not bothered when there is no time left on the clock. I mean, I think it's impressive that Tyrese Halliburton, if you remember, they go to overtime. He thinks he wins the game. Premature choke job sign, right? Should have done that when they won the game. But he's caught on camera, like right at the start. I think he says something like, "We better win this effing game." He's just locked in, man. And I think there's something to be said for that, and guys should get more credit for it.
Yeah. I was so bitter because I had 4.5 when they showed that he had the toe on the line. I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, shit, now I'm going to lose this 4.5 in overtime. But then I remembered it was the Knicks. So I'm like, no. But to be fair, the Knicks did go up like 3 quick in that overtime. And
yeah, man. Well, that goes back to that goaltend, dude. Again, it's not any one thing, but Patrick, that goaltend was huge. And I don't know how they don't call that because, again, it's like the fumble in football. You always just let the fumble go because you can go back and reverse it. And it's the same thing with goaltending. I was amazed that they did not call it in that moment because you can always just go back and reverse it. And I thought that was a pivotal moment for them. They got screwed.
Well, also Towns and Anunoby both missing free throws down the stretch didn't help matters either.
Yep.
So that's 2 more points right there on top of the goaltending. Also, Nembhard after the goaltending went down and hit a 3, so it's a 5-point swing. There was a lot that went wrong, and I think it's pretty clear against a team like Indiana who wants to run, and a team that has so many scoring options like the Pacers do, that Jalen Brunson needs some help. And Karl-Anthony Towns did his part offensively, but they need someone else to step up. Do you believe the Knicks have enough firepower? Is there someone else who can step up offensively and fill that role and take the burden off of those other 2 a little bit?
I mean, OG Anunoby, I guess. Is Suni Lee going to be there on the sidelines for all the New York games? That's my favorite meme.
I'm over all. By the way, I'm over all the celebrities. I'm so.
Oh, of course I am. Well, see, I keep going back to where's all these fat old guys that were complaining about Taylor Swift on the NFL broadcast?
Exactly.
Aren't we mad? Aren't we mad to see Spike Lee and Timothée Chalamet and all these guys on the sidelines?
Here's why. Because those fat old guys don't like new, and most of the quote-unquote stars, not all, but most of them were stars in like the 90s when those people were younger. So they think that they matter more than Taylor Swift.
I mean, I'm a fan of, look, you need to have classy stars. Like the Clippers always show Billy Crystal, you know? Like that's what we need.
and chick from Laverne and Shirley, R.I.P.
Yeah, or who's the lady that she's in Modern Family and she was the love interest in Happy Gilmore? Julie Bowden.
Yeah. Julie Bowen.
Yeah, Bowen. Yeah. She's a Clippers fan. I had no idea, but
I
showed her on the sideline one day.
Time out. Need to revise my top 10 MILFs list I gave out the other day on the show. Julie Bowen's on the list.
She a clip. I don't see it. I think the Pacers. I got Pacers in 5.
I hope that's wrong, just because I have over 5.5 games. So, like, Pacers in 6 will work for me.
Here's what I thought about. It's so funny you said that, too, because Dustin and I were discussing, like, if you just see the 43, you're like, wow, Brunson was awesome. I thought he was horrible. He looked lethargic.
Sloppy.
He was just leaning into defenders, hoping to get something. He seemed tired to me.
Well, I agree with you. And actually, so Patrick, I thought that was the crazy part. So first off, I was kind of making the case when I was sitting at the bar last night. You know, they're up by 14, 17 when he gets back into the game. And I'm like, dude, Tibbs, let him sit. He has such a high usage rate. He plays so many minutes. Like, put him back in if you get down by 7, or if you're only up by 7 in the closing minutes. But he puts him in for no reason. And by the way, they went on like a 14-1 run when he hit the bench. Yeah, 16-0. Steve, thank you. And then he hits the floor, and they immediately start falling apart. But that, to me, was the crazy part. You didn't play a majority of the fourth quarter, and then he came in and he looked absolutely gassed. And I know they've asked him to do a ton, and I don't want to overtly criticize him, but that is such a good example of catching somebody box score watching. I know you've run into people who do that, where if you didn't watch that game, you would look at that box score and be like, well, Jalen Brunson did everything he could. No, he played like shit. He was terrible.
Horrible.
And that should be part of the criticism, because down the stretch, Captain Clutch had nothing going.
He was protecting the ball like he was Nathan Peterman years ago. The ball was flying out of bounds. They were missing guys. They almost had a horrible turnover on that one inbounds play. But with all that said, I think a lot of it is Brunson looked completely exhausted. JVT, the total for game 2 is 226. I already bet the under.
Yeah.
I think the Knicks realize they can't play the Pacers style of play of running up and down the floor. They have to slow it down for their possessions. I don't see this thing going over. What do you think of the total?
I agree with you. The other part is, despite the fact that it went to overtime, guys, Cleaning the Glass only had it at 106 total possessions. So it's not like that, like possession-wise, was a really fast game. It's just that they were both insanely efficient from the floor, and that really stuck out to me when you looked at the overall possessions. But look at the offensive ratings, right? Indiana, 1.3 points per possession. That's a very high rate over the course of 100 possessions. That's 130 points. 127 for New York in non-garbage time. So then again, over the course of 100 possessions, it's 127 points. So they were highly efficient from the floor. And it goes back to what I keep kind of trying to scream, which is like again, I don't know if you guys have seen Breaking Bad. I haven't, but I just get the reference, right? He can't keep getting away with this. Like, Indiana just can't keep shooting like this. They started the game yesterday 8 for 8, right? We go back to what went wrong, what went right. Aaron Nesmith hit 6 effing threes in the last 4 minutes and 55 seconds.
It felt like in a row too. By the way, it felt like it was 6 in a row.
Like you just keep watching this. To your point, Dustin, about like playing this game under, you just keep watching this and just going, this can't be it. And if they're going to play slow, if the shooting regresses, and we get this massive adjustment on the total, I'm with you. Like, I would play this under. Now, I don't think that bodes well for somebody who's also coming back and playing the Pacers, because again, I think if this slows down, that's more in the Knicks realm that they want. But again, I can't tear myself away from playing the inflated number. But I would be with you. Like, I'm going to play the game under.
Yeah, I think the combined points last night was like the most since the 70s in the postseason. I
thought they didn't get past 60 points in the 70s. I thought they played defense and then murdered each other, instead of giving up buckets.
By the way, JVT hates big cities and he hates old people too. Just in case that's that.
I fully admit I know it's a flaw. And it's not even big cities. I hate elitist cities like New York. I don't have really any thoughts on LA. Because I haven't really run into anybody that's told me, if you can't make it here, you can't make it anywhere, kid.
Yeah, but hold on. JVT's also like you, Patrick. He doesn't watch movies before a certain date.
Before
you don't watch movies.
I tend not to watch movies before they came before I was born. They came out before I was born.
Yeah. So but TV shows, I don't know where you stand with that. You didn't watch Breaking Bad. Patrick and I were discussing Hard Knocks, the Buffalo Bills.
Miss me with it.
Dude, I said you could not pay me.
I have not watched a Hard Knocks in its entirety since the Raiders, and the only reason I did that is because I work local part-time.
That's what Patrick
literally
said.
What I said.
The one, I'll tell you, the one that I couldn't do anymore was the Tampa Bay Bucks one. One, it was like Dirk Cutter or Lovie Smith was the head coach. Boring.
No.
Then Jameis trying to make him like a redeeming character. I think he's a horrible human being, and I just wasn't feeling the backstory. And then every other one, I just watched the first episode and I bail.
Yeah, no, I can't. I mean, actually, I don't know what year it was. I do remember laughing really hard at J.J. Watt using Hard Knocks to his ultimate capabilities and like doing like the stupid workout at night and like signing autographs,
pounding a tire with a sledgehammer,
and like it's like midnight, and then like signing autographs for every last man, woman, and child before I get out of here because J.J. Watt in America and all like that. That was pretty stupid too. I can't remember if that was before or after the Raiders.
That was before. That was Lincoln Park in the background. 50% pain. 100%
That's right.
Thrill.
By the way, that is not Lincoln Park. Please look it up. I believe it is. Yeah, it's Fort Minor doing that. Yes, thank you very much.
Everybody knows it. The Thunder up 45-40. This is going to go over. I forgot to bet it. Yeah. 45-44. Still 4:34 to play in the second. So we are getting points here. Anthony Edwards, 13 to start. I did see him hit a big three. Importantly, he's got rebounds 6, 3 dimes. He's more active. Again, I just don't understand how a superstar like that gets passive. It's a la Jimmy Butler, but you don't expect it from a 24-year-old, 25-year-old Ant.
Yeah, and look, maybe it's but the weird thing is like these teams getting like these weird patterns. So like for example, remember game 1 of the series against LA, they go out to Los Angeles, and I believe did they lose that game or they win that game? There was one of the games in LA where they just completely fell flat, right, against the Lakers. The Timberwolves did. They got rolled over. They went back to Minnesota. I think it was game 2 if I remember correctly. Game 1 against Golden State, right? Beginning of the series again, Golden State loses Steph in the middle of game 1. Minnesota can't get their crap together. They lose that game as well. And then you see game 1 of this series against Oklahoma City. So they tend to have these weird moments in these series where they just crap all over themselves, they can't do anything, and then they start to get it together. So we'll see. Going back to the key stat we talked about, they're only shooting 40% at the rim, but they at least have 10 shot attempts at the rim. They've already almost matched their total shot attempts within 4 feet from game 1.
Okay, well, we'll see if – go ahead, Dustin.
I was going to say SGA won MVP. He was 4-1. Anything we can take away from that for betting futures in the future, JVT?
I mean, just do simple stuff. It's always the low hanging fruit. MVP is one I will not. I can't bet these awards anymore because I'm tired of making cases for guys and thinking that voters will get it right and do all this nonsense. They're simpletons. It's always going to be that. Like this series, for example. Why would you waste your time betting anybody else for Western Conference Finals MVP other than Anthony Edwards and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? I think your Knicks-Pacers series has some guys that you can look at, but you're really drawing a pretty firm line under Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Pascal Siakam, and Tyrese Halliburton. And even then, Tyrese Halliburton, with that moment in game 1, he clinched Eastern Conference Finals MVP. If they win that series, he's going to win it. So that's the takeaway. Just do the simple thing. It always works for these awards.
Jonathan Von Tobel, VSiN host, Money Moves, Monday through Friday, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern, at MeJVT, our insider, NBA-wise, you can read them at vsin.com. The big question as we say goodbye is, will Dustin, quote, get his stuff in order enough to be able to hang out with his friend Jonathan tomorrow? That is the question. We will find out. Well, we'll find out on Monday, and I will report back. Jonathan,
and here's the thing, Patrick. I will not, because this is on the air for everybody, I will not be sending any text messages. The invite's out there.
Yeah, now you wait.
Yeah.
No. You've already, you've done your duty. You've asked your friend kindly.
And hey, Dustin, I won't take any offense if I don't hear from you. I promise.
All right. I will let you know in the next 22 minutes if I am joining, but you have to pick a place.
That sounds like he's got to text somebody to get an answer, and then
no, it's just we're on the air for 22 minutes. I was just gonna let it be TBD until the show's done.
All right, later, Jonathan. We'll come back, get you caught up on the in-game numbers, both NBA and NHL. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
On Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Yeah, it's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. As we welcome you back, let me tell you what I can tell you. I can tell you this. Every game of the 2025 Major League Baseball season is on SiriusXM, including the hometown announcers on the SiriusXM app. Listen to the Mariners take on the Astros right now on Sirius 160, XM 183 in the car and on the SiriusXM app. And for the best baseball talk all season long, listen to MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM channel 89 in the car and on the SiriusXM app. Let me just say this. Florida still leads 3-0. They netted 3 goals in the first period. There's 4:40 to play in the second period, and it's still 3-0. Carolina has like 7 shots on goal.
Yeah,
it's a disaster in Carolina.
We always have to consider context, and a lot of times when we get to this point in the playoffs, I think who you play is your context. It tells the story of how good you really are. Carolina's path to getting here, to being a series away from getting to the Stanley Cup final, is mind-blowing. They faced a Devil team that had no offense already and then had injuries, which limited them there completely. Then they go and they take on Washington, who's the 1 seed. Washington, one of the worst 1 seeds we've seen in recent memory. It's Ovechkin and a bunch of other dudes. They knock them out. And now they're finding out they're not for real against a Florida team that just has too much power.
Yep, you're right. I mean, 7 shots at home in a game 2 where you lost game 1. Are you kidding me? They did score a goal, but then it was called back because they were offsides. Coach's challenge. So
if you're the owner and you're the GM, you have to go to the coach. It's Rod Brindamore, right? That's the coach of the Hurricanes. You got to go and be like,
yep.
What was the game plan? I need to know. In order to keep you employed, I need to know how you were not able to generate more shots. I need to know.
I don't think the game plan was to have 7 shots on goal. With
figure it out.
3 minutes to go in the second period in the postseason in the Eastern Conference Final.
Hey, I could, as someone who only got my girlfriend to go out with me again because I kept shooting my shot in her DMs, I can tell you this: had I never shot my shot, I wouldn't have a girlfriend right now. So for Carolina, you're not going to come back and win this game if you don't shoot the puck on net.
You heard it from the big guy. Persistence pays. That's what it
I mean, I
down
was
to.
like a couple messages away from a restraining order, but sure, yeah, keep going at it.
Yeah, you were dancing on the illegal side of things, and you still ended up winning. So, hey, you know what that means? Bad boy.
I think we both know that's not true.
Hey, did you ever write back Eric Lindquist?
No, I'm just gonna let that. I'm gonna move on with my life because I just think that's better
agree.
for all parties.
I would never have written back because it was just too awkward. At that point, you say la vie.
I just think I'm getting too old for all the stuff that goes into that, the behind the scenes stuff. I'm just getting too old to play that game.
I think it's just you feel awkward. You don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, but on top of it, it's just I don't want to have to like come back now. Like I had to double tap you. I had to double text you to get your attention. I just don't want to do that. If I have to do that, then it's not worth it.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. You do you. Hey, by the way, you mentioned yesterday. It's a halftime. We'll get the halftime number here in just a second. 2 minutes to go in the second period. Still 3-0 Florida, but we do have halftime score 58-50. Oklahoma City leads. Maybe we can get the in game here, and I'll pull up the halftime.
Oh, I have the halftime right now.
Go for it.
Oklahoma City is laying 2.5. They're up 8. They're up 58-50. They're laying 2.5 in the second half. Second half total is 113.5. We had 108 in the first. I think I'd lean over on that second half total.
I agree.
I don't think Minnesota's just laying down here. It's too big of a game. And I have to tell you, someone's been critical of Anthony Edwards. 16 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists in the first half. That's stepping up when your team needs you. I like that. Now, they do need to get Randall involved. He only has 2 points. He does have 5 assists and 4 rebounds. But Anthony Edwards is doing what you need him to do in this spot.
I totally agree with that over because, Oklahoma City scored 70 in the second half of the first game. So I'm good with that, too. I'm right there with you. We were talking to Scott Spreitzer, and he's like, Florida just got another goal. It's 4-0.
Oh, my God.
With just
should have laid 3
to go.
Should have laid 3 goals. Probably got like 6
What'd
to 1.
What'd you say? Lay a goal plus 220 or something?
It was lay. I don't understand. One book that I bet with, they don't let you do a reverse puck line, so I could only lay one goal that was plus 210. But I saw DraftKings had minus 1.5 at like 270.
Okay, well, you gave it out. It's a big plus price, and it's going to win easily as it's 4-0. And I think there's just seconds to play in the period. We had Spreitzer on yesterday, and he was talking about, look, you got to have a bankroll. So, for example, like if you're playing the Colorado Rockies, who, by the way, are 8-42 after their loss to the Phillies today, like tomorrow, you're going to have to lay like $315 to win 100 on the Yankees. But Spreitzer's been handing it out like, honestly, I've done the math. I know you got to lay a lot. You might lose one eventually, but just keep laying the price because they're 8-42, the Rockies.
Yeah, look, and if you're someone who's never like dipped into like props when it comes to like hitters and whatnot, I would look at Yankees hitters tomorrow going to Coors Field. The offense is humming right now. Judge is having a slow 7 days. He's hitting .316. The scary part for New York, Bellinger's getting hot. 526 over his last 5 games. Goldschmidt's been awesome for them. They're facing someone named Tanner Gordon, who I literally don't know who that is. He has 1 start against the Tigers, and he allowed 4 runs. This could get ugly very quickly. I would lay the 300. I would lay the 1.5 or 2.5, whatever it is. This Rockies team, they have 8 wins. Last year, I believe the White Sox had 41. That was as bad as we've ever seen. The Rockies will be lucky to win 41 games this year.
I like how they're like, yeah, this is on Bud Black. They put Bud Black out of it. They put Bud Black out of his misery by firing him, but it's like, dude, it had nothing to do with the manager. Nobody knows anybody on your team.
I think that was part of it. Was just like, let's see if this ignites anything. Here's the problem. You can't do that when there's no talent on the roster. There's no pitching. There's no hitting. Like, we're still waiting for Ryan McMahon to be a dude. Like, it's a bad roster, and it's also a bad situation. I'll stand by this forever. Baseball made a mistake putting a major league franchise in Colorado. I'm sorry. No pitchers will ever sign there outside of Mike Hampton and Denny Nagel in the first few years, and everyone now realizes that that's a mistake. So then you're playing mash ball, which doesn't work. It's inconsistent. Other teams come to town, and they always have the edge on the mound with their pitcher. So I just think you look at this whole situation, we're going to get to a point where they're going to have to move that franchise away if they want to be taken serious.
Well, you mentioned firing Bud Black to ignite the team. Well, hopefully the manager does so because he'd have to go 34-0 over the next 34 to reach 500.
Yeah, have you looked at the standings in the NL West? Because the NL West is super competitive. All those teams.
I'm sure Colorado's probably in the mix.
We've got the Dodgers in first place, 31-19. 2 games back at 29-21 is the Giants. 3 games back at 27-21 is the Padres. And then 5 games back in fourth place, still above 500, the Arizona Diamondbacks at 26-24. And it's not Memorial Day, and the Colorado Rockies at 8-42 are 23 games out of first place.
Gonna be a long summer. We'll get you caught up on that halftime number again to see if it's adjusted, and it is 4-0 second intermission in Carolina, Florida. The Panthers, rawr, they lead. We'll come back, close tabs. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Yeah. By finishing all of the conversations we touched on today. This is Closing Tabs.
If you know, you know. That stager is from when the show was called The Wrap. That's why they say it's time to wrap up the show. But it's called VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Now, of course, VSiN. You can go check out the picks and get them all for $19 through August 1st. VSiN.com/subscribe. They've been on fire over there, so if you're looking to make some cash, sign up. You get the splits, you get the guides, you get everything we offer. VSiN.com/subscribe, promo code SIRIUS. But it is time for Closing Tabs, and that means it's time for the big guy to shine.
Yeah, speaking of me, you mentioned that when we first met, I said I did not respect people unless they had 10,000 Twitter followers. So I went and looked at the numbers. I am 1,800 followers away on Twitter at Dustin Swedelson from getting respect from the version of myself that existed in 2016.
Well, while we're at it, let's at least get him close there, people. He's at Dustin Swedelson on Twitter. He's going to pretend like he doesn't care, but he definitely cares to see that 10K stand on his Twitter page.
Well, when they invent time travel, I'd like to be able to go back to 2016 and see, like, look, we achieved our dreams. What's next?
Yeah, well, I look forward to it. I'll meet you there. What else is going on?
We had Josh Applebaum on earlier. A couple notes from Josh. One, he's going to a bachelor party in Cavendish in Vermont. The town has under 1,400 people in it. And when I Googled it, Google suggested 2 restaurants to eat at. That's it in the entire town. So it's going to be a trippy experience.
He went to Vermont for college. I think he and his friends are a bit of hippies.
Yeah.
So it all checks. It all checks.
Also, I am not going to stop thinking about why he was nicknamed Bomber. They all call him Bomber. I am ready for this backstory next week.
Bomber. What's the second half number? Second half spread is Oklahoma City laying 1.5.
Ooh, it moved.
And the total is 112.5.
And it was Thunder minus 2.5 a couple minutes ago. The total, I think, stayed the same.
112.5, and it's 58-50. Thunder up at the half. The game closed 8.5, so we're sitting right on that number right now.
Yeah, and I'd still go over. Let's see.
Yeah, I would too.
You brought up Penny Marshall. Penny Marshall from Laverne and Shirley. Also, she was a director. Directed Big with Tom Hanks.
League of Their Own.
Had an Oscar nom for that, and A League of Their Own. Those are the other film that I know her from.
She was she's a great director. A huge Clipper fan. Like, never missed a game.
That's crazy. To dedicate your life to that mediocrity is a wild move.
It's funny. Just driving to the arena. Oof. What else?
On this day in 1992, Johnny Carson made his final appearance as the host of The Tonight Show when it came to the late night hosts. I think I know the answer, but which one was your favorite?
Letterman.
Yeah, you scream Letterman to me.
Now, by the way, read an autobiography about Carson. Loved 2 things: booze and women.
Yeah.
Big time.
Well, it's a good combo because they feed each other.
My man got after it. Naya, thank you. Ryan, thank you. Josh, thank you. JVT, thank you. The big guy, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.